Hello and welcome to Wild Plays New Games. I guess today we're playing Lucifer Within Us. So as far as I understand this game, from what I've been able to gather, apart from this being another game found back in the Jingle Jam of this year, effectively, this is a detective game as far as I can read, that it's sort of three small stories that basically just involve a character of sorts, and you end up trying to decipher what's going on and how they got murdered, etc., etc. It seems to be more... it's a very small game from my understanding. I looked it up, and it takes about, like, at best 3 to 5 hours to beat, so we'll try to beat this game in one session. Apart from that, I know very little of it, beyond, like, it's just a detective game, and the detective game is not really a genre that is really well defined, so it could be just a lot of puzzle investigative of just figuring out specific boxes of clues and then just add them together to make coherent sense, or it actually has a narrative in which you have to actually figure things out, and we'll actually have to write things down and remember who is who and what's what. So for now, we will try it out and see how it goes. So stay with me and we can see what this game is. But first, let us go into the settings. We have a zoom... Okay, so the menu is actually kind of cool. We have a zoom sensitivity, which I don't know what that even means. We got quality, we got audio. Kind of... For a game, it doesn't have a lot of settings. I imagine it doesn't have controller support, so it's probably just going to be only keyboard, so there's that. So let us start a new game. Two Brothers case. I guess it's episodic. There's sort of different spaces for cases. Not sure. 100 years without murder. 100 years without a demonic possession. Then this. I am Sister Ada, exorcist and investigator. This is my testament to my massacre. To the massacre at Saint Walpurgis Abbey. It is the truth. Do not believe the lies of my accusers. Okay. Show me what you got.
Sister Ada, welcome.
Why do I have black bars in this? Give me a second. Just check in. I guess it just creates black bars because of the resolution that I'm watching this at. Bam. No, yeah, that's weird. Won't worry about it. So I guess Ada is going to be the main character as we play as. Sister Ada, welcome.
I am Virgil, Chief Inquisitor at St. Walpurgis Abbey.
Oh, I guess we have narration. Nice.
We may be in need of your talents as an exorcist.
An exorcist? I thought you needed a detective. I'm in the wrong place then.
You can survey the evidence yourself, but I think you will agree.
Has there truly been a murder?
Has there been a murder?
So, a respected priestess, Mother Miriam, passed this morning under suspicious circumstances.
If the circumstances involve an amount of blood I see there in the background, that is not suspicious. That is a murder.
A demon may be present. Here, even now. Possessing someone.
Including you.
What happened exactly?
Mother Miriam was only recently appointed as successor to Abbot Gregory.
Don't know what that is.
This morning, she came to the workshop to receive her coronet of office.
Don't know what that is.
Something went wrong with the installation.
I guess?
Yes. To put it mildly, the coronet oversurged, killing Mother Miriam. Brace yourself for the sight.
What is even a coronet? But I guess I'm bracing myself.
The workshop operators, Gideon and Reuben, are the prime suspects.
There's two people to look into.
Brothers, right?
Yes, but it's highly out of character for Gideon or Reuben to kill someone.
But you just said they could be possessed.
Even so, they were the only ones present when Mother Miriam died.
Daemons nurture our sinful desires into unthinkable actions, Virgil. One of the brothers has surely been seduced by a daemon.
I like how they say daemon rather than demon.
Whichever it is, I will unmask his lies and cast out the daemon within him.
May Einsoff's will be done. Amen.
Are you sure it couldn't be anybody else?
To exorcise a daemon, we must uncover 4 things.
Okay.
First,
Why are you telling
suspect.
him this?
We must identify which sinner is possessed by a daemon. Second, the opportunity. When exactly was the murder committed? We can pinpoint the opportunity by analyzing each suspect's testimonies.
So we have to create a timeline of events, I guess?
Third, the means by which the murder has been committed.
Okay.
The means can be found among the physical evidence at the scene of the incident.
Cool.
Fourth, the motive of the murderer, which can be found in their inner world. their sanctum.
They are sanctum.
The motive will tell us which daemon possesses the sinner.
Very well. Let us begin our holy work.
I feel like a tutorial, a very heavy-handed tutorial there. Oh, we actually are not just 2D characters for the entirety of the thing. So we move by clicking. We can talk. Oh, I guess now you don't have audio. Gideon claims that the incident was an accident, but Reuben claims it was Gideon's fault. Are either of them telling the truth? Perhaps there's another possibility. Talk.
This is madness! I will not suffer this injustice!
Okay, it's you. You did it.
I am Gideon the Grand, the greatest cybernetician of our generation. I am blessed.
Are you blessed?
This morning, my hands are guided by the divine.
You have been guided by no one.
I see only gaudy trinkets here. Mother Miriam died by your hands. Is that not so?
Nope. Oh, I guess now you stopped. No, why would I harm her? Mother Miriam was my patron, and she loved me like a son. I did nothing wrong. The chamber of consecration must have been compromised. Sister Ada, he is here to seek the truth, Gideon. You have nothing to fear if you're innocent. Please hear Gideon's testimony. Sister Ada, and judge for yourself if he speaks true. Testimony of a subbig is divided into events. You can access detailed descriptions of events by hovering over them. You can manipulate the timeline marker to navigate any moment in the testimony. Okay, so it's sort of a conversation about everything going on. Alright, tell me about Miriam's arrival.
Mother Miriam came to me for her consecration ceremony. I've performed this many times before, so I was confident.
Okay. So we talked to these weird mannequins.
To prepare for the ceremony, I ordered Reuben to take Mother Miriam to the consecration chamber.
Okay, what else?
Meanwhile, I adjusted the coronet's amplifier.
Wait a second. Let's re-examine what he said about Miriam's arrival. Okay.
Mother Miriam came to me.
Interesting. Gideon mentioned Reuben being present while greeting Mother Miriam. Select Miriam's arrival and ask Gideon about it.
Mother Miriam came to me for her.
Good. Now I should remember that I can ask a subject about any statement in the testimony. Were you alone when greeting Mother Miriam? Yes, I was alone then. For now, let's finish hearing the rest of his testimony. Okay. Mother Miriam came to me in the consecration. I performed this many times, so I was confident. So how do I know which questions I can ask?
To prepare for the ceremony, I ordered Reuben to take Mother Miriam to the consecration.
At some point, Reuben showed up, or he lied about Reuben not being there.
Meanwhile, I adjusted the coronet's amplification at my work table, and then placed it on Mother Miriam's head.
But why? Okay. The walking animation is kind of funny. So what is your brother doing all this time? He was there, now he's not there anymore.
We began by closing our eyes and praying together to Ein Sof.
Ooh, just you?
The chamber open, but didn't think much of it.
So he had his eyes closed. It's possible that the prayer chamber opened.
Then I activated the consecration chamber and began the ceremony itself. The aether output was within safe ranges.
Okay. That's an organ that you play to do the ceremony? What's he doing there? Oh. I've heard enough. Let's leave him for now. Alright, we got your testimony. What is your testimony?
An exorcist? Surely there are no demons here, though. This was an accident, wasn't it?
Or was it?
If Gideon is possessed, that would mean he did it on purpose. Horrible.
You must be the elder brother.
Your name?
Yes, my name is Ruben Garamond. I am responsible for the engineering and design of our implants.
How
Okay.
did Mother Miriam die, exactly?
Yes. Are you guilty? Because you look much nicer than your brother, so you like by omission, you have 2 points of less suspicion than your brother does.
It was a completely preventable accident.
Okay.
Mother Miriam died because Gideon deliberately flouted the ceremonial guidelines for his own glory. Gideon may be my flesh and blood, but he must take responsibility for his negligence.
You're throwing your brother under the bus. That's a -1 point, so now you're slightly reaching your brother. Let's hear what Reuben has to say. Keep in mind, Reuben's testimony may differ greatly from Gideon's version of events. But event corroborated by another subject's testimony may be marked by verified in the timeline. Listen to what Reuben has to say.
Mother Miriam came to us to receive a consecration ceremony, but she wanted something extravagant. Gideon suggested setting the coronet to have maximum ether output. I warned him that doing so is highly dangerous.
I guess he doesn't remember anything that his brother did.
Gideon convinced her to move forward with the ceremony anyway, since he was going to handle everything. I went back to...
Whoa, that's a different... What about the order that he told you? Part of the testimony is rather long and repetitive. Let's move ahead to the start of the section to stop the ceremony. Okay.
When Gideon activated the consecration chamber, I immediately felt something was wrong. I begged Gideon to stop, but he didn't listen.
Okay. We got some evidence that counteracts both each other. Now that we've heard the testimony from each subject, let's think carefully. There only is one truth of chain of events in this morning, and I doubt that either brother has told it to us. We must rely on himself's greatest gift to us, our minds. There are 3 ways we should consider what we've discovered. First, the way of deduction, since there can only be one truth if 2 things don't align, one or both of them are false. If Gideon and Reuben do not agree on something, someone is lying. Or, if they do not match the evidence to this, then there must be lying. Second is induction. I use my theory based on what I discovered. If my theory does not align with any of the testimonies or evidence that I find, then I should discard it. If 2 theories are possible, then I should prefer the one that has more information that supports it. That said, induction alone is usually not enough. Finally, abduction. I must hypothesize about what could have happened, fill in the gaps in information with my imagination. This is the fastest and most powerful way of thinking, but also the most fraught. I should engage with each in 3 ways. I should uncover the truth. Okay, so let us find evidence, I guess. Examine. The consecrated ceremony is a value of physical evidence. An entry is now added to your physical panel, can be found in the lower left on your display. Here you can access details about the consecration ceremony. You must present them to subjects in order to discover any contradictions. Place the coronet on the recipient in the chamber. The performer and the recipient pray in silence. Begin the song to start the modulation. The ether intensity of the output by bringing the performance to a crescendo. Okay. The corner limiter. A new piece of evidence. Let's examine it now. But in Gideon's workstation in pristine condition, a component is required to safely install the coronet without causing ether oversurge. Okay, so that's missing. Examine. Evidence control panel. Used to activate the control consecration chamber. Using records show the ether output during the ceremony was well beyond safe ranges. Okay, so that matches the evidence. Door controls. Used to open and close the concentration chamber, only operable from the outside chamber. Usage record shows that it was opened twice this morning. What is this? Examine. Don't walk over the blood. Ugh. Mother Miriam's body. The body is completely unharmed, but her head has exploded into a mess of blood and bone fragments. While neither mother's body, limited parts of the amplifier component and bits of casing have survived the explosion. Okay, we got an achievement for just doing the investigation. Plans for construction in the Aether Coronet. The purpose of the device seems to be amplify the user's Aether output. Components are amplifier, casing, and limiter. But we were missing the limiter. Found in the Urinsburg station, plans to restoring the relic was brought to St. Walpurgis by Father Augustine. What is this? What is this? The Devil's Herb. I knew something nefarious was afoot. The Ave must have purified its scent, but I should dispose anything I find. So, like, drugs? Did you just find drugs? Shouldn't that be immediate case for arrest this heretic? But it's just marijuana, I guess. Okay. Talk. View examine the explosion remains. Any component coronet is missing that would suggest the incident was a sabotage. But the limiter was gone. Okay. So we had the limiter. The blueprints are composed of the casing, the limiter, and the amplifier. I have the limiter, but where's the casing? The amplifier. There's the limiter. There's the remains. So one piece was missing. You know that for a fact. Is there a button to highlight things? There is, I don't see it. Alright, let's go first disregard your order of events. Corroboration, no. Specificity. Okay, so let us... Now that I've discussed important pieces of evidence, let's ask the subject about them. Select any evidence and ask him about it. Ask. Good. I should remember you that I can ask any subject about evidence that I find. Consecration ceremony is meant to be glorious. Beautiful! Reuben has always been devout, serious, and boring. He can't have all be grand, I suppose. Consecration ceremony is meant to be glorious, beautiful. Okay, nothing there. Ask. I recognize this component, Gideon. It was found at your workstation. The coroner limiter. Impossible. But the explosion? How can it be undamaged? Someone must have removed it from the coronet prior to the ceremony. All but ensuring that the ceremony would end in a bloody mess. I had nothing to do with this. Why would I sabotage my own work? Why, indeed.
Mother Miriam came to me for her consecration ceremony. I've performed this.
Ask. How exactly do you operate this device? Do you press keys, much like an organ? This is a crude way to phrase it. There's much artistry in the performance. The rhythm of the melody in my music affects how energy is transferred into the implant. Okay. These door access records show that the chamber was sealed during the ceremony. There you have it. Proof that the ceremony was performed flawlessly. Perhaps. What's curious is the door was opened twice. The first time when Reuben opened the chamber to let Miriam in. The second time was before the ceremony started, when you closed your eyes and prayed for guidance. With one true God as my witness, I swear it is the truth. I kneeled and listened for his voice. It must have been Reuben who opened it, for some reason. He was always skittish about the slightest possibility of malfunction. Okay. The body's completely unharmed, but her head is exploding in a mess of blood fragments. It was never supposed to happen. Mother Miriam, I am so sorry. But I can at least be comforted that her death was painless. My masterwork. It was perfectly fitted for Mother Miriam's brow. Even in pieces, you can see the sublime beauty of my ancestry, or my artistry. But this can't be all you've found. Where's the limiter? Limiter. There was a safety device? The other limiter was supposed to protect the coronet from an oversurge. Additionally was the crown jewel of the coronet. I suppose it shattered. Damnation. Is that Reuben's little chart? He sure loves making things complicated. True art comes from the soul, nothing in messing in the lines and wires expresses the beauty of the coronet. Oh, is that Reuben's little project? Whatever keeps him busy, fine by me. Okay. Ask. Were you alone when greeting Mother Miriam? So, you weren't alone. Can't accuse.
To prepare for the ceremony, I ordered...
Why have Reuben do this? Why not open the chamber yourself? I did not want Mother Miriam to have to wait for too long. Besides, menial work is all Reuben's good for anyway. Damn, you really don't think much of your brother, huh?
Meanwhile, I adjusted the coronet's amplification at my work table, and then placed it on Mother Miriam's head.
What exactly did you modify? I modified the amplifier to its maximum setting. To do so, I had to temporarily remove the limiter. So you forgot to put the limiter back. I made sure to replace it before taking it to the chamber. Okay. Gideon claims that the other output values are different ranges, but the control panel indicates otherwise. Let's present the control panel and unmask his lie. Present. Lies unmasked. You lied, Gideon. The ceremony wasn't safe. The control panel records showed that the ether output values were abnormally high ranges. Of course it was. Mother Miriam wanted the coronet as powerful as it could be. But I am Gideon the Grand. With my talents, I had it under control. I made no errors. Something else went wrong. I just don't know what. Gideon has amended his testimony. Let's examine and maintain control. Good. Statement from Gideon's testimony is now verified, for two reasons. 1. Specificity has a shorter time frame and describes a clearer set of events. 2. Physicality. Gideon's testimony now is consistent with the records of the control panel. You can assume that any verified statement like this is true. What's more, the contradiction weakened the subject's resolve. His eye of providence shows me to enter his sanctum, the digital representation of his mind. Let's use the third eye to enter his sanctum to see what truly motivates this subject. Evidence discovered. Narcissist. No, really? We've cracked only the outer layer of his sanctum this time. Still, let's examine the psychological evidence that we found. Interesting. This information will help me discern which statements to trust. Let's quickly examine each statement in the testimony again. Excellent. Some of the statements are now supported by subject psychology. Next, I must find correlations between the subject's behavior and existing demons. Let's open the demonology. Lucifer the Proud, bird of demons, the eternal adversary of sin off, manifests in the ambitious strong will, promising the heart and desire in exchange for their souls. Beelzebub the gluttonous, simple-minded demon who debilitates their host, turning them into feral beasts. Their host is compelled to consume stranger and filthier things, though nothing remains of their humanity. Satanas the vengeful, a furious demon that strokes the simmering rage of the host, that preys upon the firmament and the righteous, goading them into matters to take their own hands. Lothar the envious, playful but deceitful demon who slowly drives the host mad with whispers of their own inadequacy. The host blames others for their ill fortune, until apparently injustice drives them to take what is rightfully theirs. If the subject is possessed, there should be a psychological evidence that is clear correlation with a demon. To obtain further psychological evidence, I must find more contradiction to present to the subject. For now, I have arrived at testimony gathered, and I can accuse the subject. To accuse the subject, I must establish opportunity. That means a motive for a crime. You can try as many times as you wish, but there's only one true answer for each section. Let's try establish opportunity. Establish opportunity. Present a statement for the subject's testimony. Okay. Where could I possibly harmed when you adjusted the coronet? Good. If this is a valid answer, the subject will be forced to admit that they could have committed the coronet at that time. Otherwise, the subject would have given a counter to why that's impossible. You were the last person to handle the coronet. The coronet was damaged during the events of this morning. Means. So I need to look at evidence. Have to look at the limiter, I would probably say. Present. Good. Same as before. The subject will accept my evidence if it's valid. Deny it if they can explain why I'm wrong. But you adjusted the coronet, you removed the limiter. That's nonsense. That's nonsense. Do you really think I could forget to replace the crown jewel of a masterpiece? By what means did you claim that I killed her? Finally, let's establish a motive. Narcissist. Present. Good. If he's the culprit, then presented by the correct motive, the demon within him will compel him to speak the truth. If not, he will deny my claim. I love Mother Miriam. Why would I hurt her? You're a self-absorbed man. Everything you do feeds into your pride. You, Mother Miriam, was a mere prop for your masterpiece. You carelessly caused her death in pursuit for artistic glory. How dare you! I took the utmost care in everything I did for Mother Miriam. The coronet was designed and worn by her. Without her, it would forever remain imperfect. I would never risk anything that could harm my work, or Mother Miriam. Accusation was unsuccessful, which means I must investigate further. Let's cancel this for now and leave the subject. Okay, so we know a possibility that it's not full. Alright, so let's ask more questions.
The aether output was dangerously high, but I had the chamber under control.
You've now admitted the ceremony was risky. What makes you so confident that you maintain control? Because I'm a maestro. I remember every bit of my performance. Nothing that I couldn't overcome with a corner limiter. But you didn't have the limiter. What makes you confident that you maintain control? I really recall calling him to me. I didn't hear him. I was too busy performing the ceremony. There's no corroboration.
We mean to prepare for the ceremony. Meanwhile,
Did Ruben return to work? I had no idea. That's not important for me here right now. Ruben, tell me about how he maintained control. Curious. Ruben claims he went back to his workstation. What does Gideon say? Let's switch to his testimony.
to prepare for the...
Gideon claims that Reuben opened the door to the consecration chamber. Let's go back to Reuben.
Gideon convinced her to move forward with the ceremony anyway. Since he was going to handle everything, I went back to my tasks.
Contradict. Perhaps another subject is testimony to physical evidence. Present. So you lie there as well. Reuben Garamond, you did not return to your workstation after the discussion. Gideon ordered you to open the consecration chamber for Mother Miriam. Ordered me? Is that what he told you? Despite his delusions, Gideon certainly is not my master. I did open the chamber, it's true. I apologize for the omission. It's earlier part of the routine that I slipped to my mind earlier. Reuben has amended his testimony. Let's open the examination chamber. Good. The statement is now verified for two reasons. One, corroboration. Gideon's testimony confirms that Reuben opened the door for Mother Miriam. Two, specificity. It was a shorter time frame, which discovers a clearer set of events. We assume that any verified statement like this is true.
Mother Miriam.
Gideon didn't mention me being there. Typical.
Gideon suggested setting the coronet to happen since Gideon...
Unfortunately, I was occupied and did not see what Gideon did.
When Gideon activated the consecration chamber, I immediately felt so...
After what happened, Gideon still thinks he had it under control. He's delusional.
When Gideon activated the consecration chamber, I immediately felt something was wrong. I begged Gideon to stop, but he didn't listen.
Control panels used to modulate the ether put in the consecration chamber. Gideon always insists on performing the ceremony. You should ask him about it. Actually,
Since Gideon was going to handle everything, I went back to my tasks.
ask. For safety reasons, the button is the only way to open the consecration safety door. Right, but like, you must have opened the door. Found on Gideon's desk, it's no wonder that the coronet exploded. The Inviso must have forgotten to replace the adjusted coronet's amplification. Despicable. Okay, so you've revealed some information there. Believer. Found in Riven's Sactum, faithful servant of Ein Sof, or so he thinks. He knows cybernetics are a crucial part of one's truth. Cybernetics empower us to be the service of one god, Ein Sof. I am honored to be of service.
When Gideon activated the consecration...
Why did you have to ask Gideon to stop? Why not force him? Couldn't you have opened the chamber and pushed Gideon aside? Interrupting the ceremony would have been more dangerous. Had I opened the chamber, the energy would have let loose into the workshop. Had I pushed Gideon away, no one could have been controlling the energy gathered within the chamber. In either case, my action would have resulted in a greater catastrophe. Gideon is my delusional younger brother. He believes fame equal talent. Must shame his recklessness today and furious that Mother Miriam would pay the price for it. My name is Ruben, for responsible for engineering and design of implants. I'm the one who keeps things together, or I try to, anyway. Hope this wasn't just an accident. Mother Miriam was a primary benefactor. Without her patronage, we wouldn't have even had this workshop. I loved her. If only she hadn't trusted Gideon in his boasting, maybe she'd still be alive. Okay. Consecration ceremony is an installation process to augment someone's public speaking abilities. Consecration chamber is sealed during the ceremony to prevent disruption. Sadly, I wasn't there enough in time, killed by Gideon's arrogance.
Since Gideon suggested setting the coronet to have maximum ether output, I warned him that doing so is highly dangerous.
I could accuse you, but I don't know why. So he could be this, but neither actually makes sense. So there's a few points in which we don't quite know. We know that some of it is because he is a believer.
When Gideon activated the consecration chamber, I immediately felt something was wrong.
This is a nightmare. I've always taken extra precautions so nothing like this could have ever happened. And yet here we are. Mother Miriam would still be alive if Gideon were more careful.
The aether output was dangerously high, but I had the chamber under control. Meanwhile, I adjusted the coronet's amplification at my work table, and...
Ruben has always been devout, serious, and boring. We can't be all that grand, I suppose. I am indeed talented and proud of it. And Ainsuf granted me gifts, and I'll gladly use them for his glory. I had no idea what you mean. What has that to do with me? So, I guess he was there. Lies, Gideon. Reuben tells me that he was with you when Mother Miriam arrived. What? Come to think of it, yes, he was standing there, scowling as usual. He was not just standing there, he tried to stop you. Mother Miriam wanted her coronet to be extraordinary, so you convinced her to increase her aether output. Reuben warned you about the danger, and you insisted to Mother Miriam that the ceremony was safe. I love my brother, but Reuben can be a sniveling coward. He's exaggerating the risk. Yes, the ceremony had some danger, however, it was well within my abilities. I made no error. That is how it happened.
Mother Miriam came...
Were you alone when greeting Mother Miriam? Yes, certainly there was. Yeah, but you weren't. Contradict.
Mother Miriam wanted the coronet to be spectacular, so I suggested maximizing its aether amplification.
Okay.
I mean, the aether output was dangerously high.
So... You tried to maintain control, but we don't know about that.
Meanwhile, I adjusted the coronet's amplification at my work table.
So you tried to, but the limiter's here.
Since Gideon was going to handle everything, when Gideon activated the consecration chamber, I immediately felt something was wrong.
Apologies, Sister Ada. I do not follow your logic. That's not what I'm trying to ask. Okay, so I don't know how to follow. Wasn't another subject testimony physical evidence? So what is it that you said? The aether was dangerously low. You felt that something was wrong. So you did feel something was wrong. We don't know what happened to you.
Gideon was going to handle everything. I went back to my tasks.
Oh, what were you working on? Restoring a ceremonial spear for tonight's mass. Were you this? But somebody opened the door.
We began by closing our eyes and praying together to Ein Sof. I thought I...
So we know somebody opened the door. We don't know who.
Since Gideon was going to handle everything.
We began by closing our eyes and praying together to Ein Sof.
So why would the door be open though? Because that's the problem. It's like you would think that it's him, but it's not the limiter. He has the opportunity, he adjusted the coronet. Clear enough. Well, given what happened, you could have stopped the ceremony. Because I was so confident I could do it safely. Someone else might have gotten wrong. You had a means and the motive. I loved Miriam. Why would I hurt her? Violence and incentives relieves attention, but as soon as it sleeps. You're a self-absorbed man. Everything you feeds into your pride. To you, Mother Miriam is a mere prop for a masterpiece. Okay. Why don't make me kill Mother Miriam? I love Mother Miriam. Why would I hurt her? I can break more. He's a skeptic. You carelessly accuse her death in the pursuit of artistic glory. It was an accident. I'm a faultless exorcist, I swear. Okay, accuse. Your motive is that you're a skeptic. Your faith is weak, Gideon. Indeed, you question the teachings of the church. You've killed Mother Miriam because you have utter disdain for our faith. What nonsense. My skepticism merely serves to fuel my creativity. One must be open to all possibilities to create truly original works. Besides, this does nothing to explain why I would wish to kill Mother Miriam in particular. I loved her. Why would I hurt her? So, okay. So, if he's a skeptic... Yes. No, let's go to Reuben.
Since Gideon was going to handle everything, I went back to my tasks.
My brother never understood the importance of our work and our faith. He acts like a zealot, but he only cares there and now.
When Gideon activated the consecration chamber, I immediately felt something was wrong. I begged Gideon to stop, but he didn't listen.
But doesn't really believe in the truth of the demons. Weren't they rooted out 100 years ago? Can't figure out. So what information do you think we need to figure out? Do auto pause. Let's accuse. You had opportunity. Your opportunity was during the door controls. Not during the prayer.
Since Gideon was going to handle everything, I went back to my task.
What about when Gideon and Mother Miriam were praying? I was still working at that time. You have proof that he wasn't. If I do, I should contradict him with first, before accusing him. In the ceremony, no one is inside the chamber other than Mother Miriam. If you're accusing me of sabotage, what could have done any of this? Gideon thought he heard something during his prayer. Doesn't mean anything. He could have just imagined it. Since he's gonna handle everything, I went back to my tasks. Fortunately, I was occupied during the time and did not see the exact moment of what Gideon did. So we know that a button got pressed, and we know that it's not him. You test my patience, Reuben. Has your memory slipped once more? Your door records show that the consecration chamber was opened twice today. Given that Gideon was praying during this time, only you could have opened the chamber. It's true that I opened the chamber again, just before the ceremony started, but I had my reasons. Something about the chamber seemed unseemly. Given what happened to Mother Miriam, I feel vindicated for my fears. Tell me what you did in the chamber.
Since Gideon was going to handle everything.
Okay, let's break your thing first. Show me your secrets. He's envious of his brother. Okay. Okay, go to the next area.
So I opened the consecration chamber to verify that the coronet was in working order.
How can you verify that? Whoa.
So I opened the consecration chamber to verify that the coronet was in working order.
Apologies, sister. I do not follow your logic. Okay, but how did you? How? Gideon, I saw Gideon pray before the ceremony began. He did that right, at least.
Everything seemed fine, so I returned to my desk again.
Okay. Oh, no. Honestly, only Gideon could expose for being a fraud that he is. Huh. So we know that he opened the door. He admitted to that. He opened the door. He may have done something at that specific point in time to actually cause an issue.
When Gideon activated the consecration chamber, I immediately felt something was wrong. I begged Gideon to stop, but he didn't.
Why did you ask Gideon to stop? Why not force him?
Everything seemed fine.
No, I don't want to accuse. I want to ask. Why can't I ask?
When Gideon activated everything...
What were you working on? I was restoring someone with a spear. Relic. Please.
So I opened the...
What were you checking? To perform the consecration ceremony self permission is critical. I wanted to make sure the coronet was placed correctly in Mother Miriam. Yeah, but like you say that, but the performer proceeded pray in silence. Okay, let's go back to Gideon.
We began by closing our eyes and praying together to...
He opened the chamber while I was praying. That seems paranoid, even for him.
Then I rose...
Did Reuben return to work? I had no idea. That's not important here anyhow. Bailey recalled calling up to me. Okay.
Then I rose up. We began by closing our eyes and praying together to Ein Sof. I thought I heard the chamber open, but didn't think much of it.
So we know that he could be the proud and he could be the vengeful. But we don't really know how the process would work.
Everything seemed fine, so I returned to my...
Are these the only pieces found in the chamber? I see the casing in the amplifier, but the limiter seems to be missing. How could that be?
So I opened the consecration chamber to verify that the coronet was in working order.
So we can accuse... We had an opportunity. When you check the chamber. In the prayer, you claim to have opened the chamber and checked their materials. This was when you sabotaged the ceremony. Means... Gideon was the one who operated the device. How could it have affected the chamber? How could you? By removing the limiter. There was nothing faulty with the coronet itself. Indeed, the craftsman was flawless, as was Gideon's performance of the ceremony. But you removed the limiter from the coronet without Gideon's knowledge, which, coupled with the coronet's high amplification, caused an oversurge. Gideon's arrogance may have endangered Mother Miriam, but you ensured that she would die from it. But Mother Miriam was our patron. Why would it harm her? Because you have envy. Mother Miriam's death was merely a means to an end. Humiliation of Gideon. You envy your father's success. You want his fame, his glory.
Ein Sof sees all, Reuben. You killed Mother Miriam to frame Gideon and take him down a peg. With Gideon gone, a daemon whispered that people would finally recognize you for your genius.
I am older than Gideon. My work is better than Gideon, and more important.
So is this the truth?
But no one sees my work. No one understands my work.
Confess, Reuben. Tell us what the daemon made you do.
Ooh. Oh no, the daemon has gotten you!
Corruption runs deep within Reuben's soul. Yet Reuben may still be saved.
He has been demon-possessed by the cybernetics, I guess.
Then the daemon will be cast out. Ain Soph, guide me. What daemon has possessed Reuben?
Praise upon the fervent and the righteous, go down to make matters into their own hands. Manifesting the ambitions of strong will, promising their heart's desire in exchange for their soul. Probably be the vengeful, wouldn't it?
Out, Satanas! Leave this soul and return whence you came!
Invocation failed. Did I speak the wrong name? I guess the envious. Playful and deceitful daemon who slowly drives the host mad by whispering their own inadequacy. The host blames others for their ill fortune, and apparent injustice drives them to take rightfully what's theirs.
Lotan, leave this soul and return whence you came!
Magnificently done, Madam Exorcist.
I failed already, so not a great exorcist over here.
The power of Ain Soph compels you, Lotan. Leave this soul and return to the ether!
Thousands of years, and you humans never change. Never satisfied, always comparing, wanting more.
I mean, that is human nature for you. Always wanting a little more.
Someone else is always richer, prettier.
Comparison, the joy of... the thief of joy.
Nothing can ever fill that void within you. Not even me.
Silence, Lotan. Reuben may yet be redeemed. You are a scourge. Without your influence, a good woman would still be alive.
I don't know if I quite believe the possibility that it is not humanity's fault, but the fact that a demon possesses a person to cause the sins of that person.
Leave humans be, Lotan. I banish you to the ether!
As you wish, but I'll return soon enough. My prince and master Lucifer walks among you. Lucifer will open the gates of hell, and at last, humanity will remember its full potential.
They don't sound necessarily like bad people either.
Until then, Madam Exorcist, adieu.
Very polite demon too. Bam.
Come
You-
forth, Reuben. What remains of you?
Thank.
He's silent and still. Poor soul. Rest, Reuben. Heal, if you can.
Sister Ada, you've returned. Was there a demon at work after all?
There always is. Also, I think now that I understand that the tattoos that we see here are actually somewhat perhaps relating to the faith that we currently are in dealing with here in the Lucifer within us.
I'm afraid so. The exorcism was a success. Reuben's soul has been purged.
Reuben's soul has been purged.
Fortunately, the daemon was difficult to cleanse. Reuben is returned to pure innocence.
What does that even mean?
What? The exorcism shattered his mind? Can you bring him back?
It's out of my hands. If Ain Soph wills it, maybe Reuben will heal.
That sounds kind of rough. Ah, yes, you've committed a crime. Let me just completely wipe your mind and bam. All right, well, too bad.
Please escort this shell to the cryostasis cellar. I pray for his swift recovery. Abbot Gregory.
Praise be to Ain Soph, Sister Ada. You have saved us all.
Ain Soft. Ain Soft. I feel like there's got to be a line or something relating to that. It is probably hidden because it's a bit weird of a title to give to a god or give to effectively an entity. It gives me a little more thinking, or it gives me a little bit to think about the possibility that maybe there's something hidden upon even this religion that is seemingly a weird combination of both technology and faith, in which we basically transmit our demons and can basically read people's emotions in a sort of technical way, I guess.
On behalf of everyone at St. Walpurgis, I express
St. Walpurgis.
gratitude.
It's a weird name.
We are not yet safe. We must act quickly until we locate the source of the demonic influence. We don't understand yet why demons would act after 100 years.
What, it's been 100 years since the last Daemon attack?
Holy Father, we must quarantine the Abbey and the surrounding town immediately.
Quarantine the town for just one demon?
Detain and interrogate anyone who seems suspicious.
Okay, we're going full Inquisitor mode here.
We can try, Sister Ada, but it will be difficult, as we have visitors arriving hourly. Much like yourself, pilgrims from afar are here to celebrate Walpurgisnacht.
Walpurgisnacht. I don't know what it is.
Such a shame Mother Miriam couldn't bear witness to it.
Ah, yes. The priestess. We must destroy her body immediately. Traces of demonic influence may remain from her contact with Reuben.
My god, you are really an Inquisitor, aren't you?
Oh, Sister Ada, thank you for your concern, but we absolutely cannot. Mother Miriam was a prominent figure and well loved, with decades of service. We must treat her body with dignity and give her a proper burial. Send Mother Miriam's body to the mortuary for embalming.
Your Excellency, we really ought to take the advice of the exorcist.
Mother Miriam's body has been desecrated enough, Virgil. Send her to the mortuary, now.
Okay, so you don't listen to me.
As you command, Your Excellency.
Holy Father, you are making a grave mistake.
Sister Ada, don't worry yourself. All will be well.
If anyone ever tells you those 4 words, all will be well, you should run away. Or you should really consider the possibility that everything is already not well.
Saint Walpurga's triumph over Lucifer has brought us a century of peace and bliss.
I don't think that bliss is going to last too much longer.
It's horrifying that a demon was exorcised from our abbey, but surely it was the final remnant.
Final remnant? We haven't even started. The game has just started. Like, I literally see there's been an hour on the clock. I feel like there's a lot of more demons to figure out here.
The daemon within Reuben spoke of Lucifer's return. Lucifer's ways are insidious. Even the most devout among us have temptations.
It's a shame Brother Reuben fell to the demon, but the rest of my flock is stronger. Faith shall be their shield.
But faith can also easily be their weakness.
Now, please excuse me. This evening's mass requires my attention. We are honored by your presence, Sister Ada. Praise be to Ein Sof.
Praise be to this weird god we keep referring to.
Even the Holy Father can be foolish then. Ein Sof. Let it not be true that Lucifer walks. But if it is, Ein Sof, guide me, that I may unmask all lies, no matter how painful.
They do be painful lies. Daemon's final words haunted me. Lucifer was already among us. I want to destroy Mother Miriam's body to purge the traces of a demonic influence. Abbot Gregory did not heed my words. Mother Miriam was given a proper burial. That afternoon, Inquisitor Virgil sent for me, asking for urgently to meet him at the graveyard. Well, that's not good. Second murder? Within the span of, what, 24 hours?
Thank you for coming to our aid so quickly, Sister Ada.
Again?
You said it was urgent. Has something happened to Mother Miriam's body?
No, in some ways, that would have been easier. There is now a second untimely death.
A second one? Jeez, how do you end up with 2 deaths in a century, huh?
Another murder. On the very same day. This can't be a coincidence.
That isn't for me to say, but this time, the victim is a younger acolyte named Isaac. His remains were found in the grave that was dug for Mother Miriam.
So a few hours have passed and then somebody else died?
Poor kid's throat was slit.
Okay, that's a very deliberate case of murder.
Who was at the graveyard when the body was found?
Only 3 people were present this afternoon. A scholar, an embalmer, and a grave tender.
So there's 3 suspects.
Father Augustine is a scholar, visiting for Mother Miriam's funeral. The victim was his apprentice.
Okay, it's unlikely that the master killed his apprentice, but I suppose there's could be reasons.
Sister Nerissa, an embalmer with a sterling reputation, preparing Mother Miriam's body for burial.
No connection, but that could still be a connection found later down the line.
Abraham, the grave tender, a layman who has kept the grounds of the abbey for many years.
Neither of them seem to have a specific reason why they would murder someone.
None of them say they were near the grave until after the body was discovered.
That is probably a lie.
Which means someone is lying. No matter. Ein Sof sees all. We will unmask their lies and bring the truth forward. I swear it.
I swear it. Alright, so let's go find evidence. Examine the headstones. Noble's grave. Immaculately maintained grave shows genealogy of illustrious family, but there isn't a blade of grass out of place within the stone. Okay, so definitely the person who did it. Very good. Sickle. This is the murder weapon. The lightweight sickle slices through the air to trim with grass and chop weeds. Its sharp edge could injure someone. Very likely that it is a murder weapon. Statue of Saint Walpurga. Statue of Saint Walpurga, the founder of the Abbey and patron saint of exorcists. So my patron saint, huh? Aether scanner. What is that doing there? Portable Aether scanner, portable device for recording images and text. Okay, is there any evidence that it's collected? I imagine that you're one of the people. Devil's Leaf. Isaac. The victim, a teenage youth aspiring to be a scholar, raised in the church. He joined Augustine as his apprentice 8 months ago. Already recorded. Devils! What's this? The Devil's Herb! I knew something nefarious is afoot. Yeah, we must be purified of the scent. I should dispose of any that I find. I mean, this is the second one you found. Surgical multi-tool. The surgical multi-staircase between the RV and the martyred grave. Another powered tool for making incisions, applying preservatives, and closing wounds. Okay, it's an interesting thing to find there. Oh, whoa, whoa, whoa. How do I get in there? Oh, I can just walk in. Muddy footprint. Found on the floors in the mortuary, still wet, leads back to the exit of the mortuary and to the embalming table. So it starts here, goes all the way in. Shovel. Shovel. Frying it from the hanging back area in the mortuary, heavy, bulky, and caked with dirt. Okay. A bundle of fresh blossoms, like that found in a grave. Why were they on the floor? Nariza's workstation. The records show 2 notable entries for today, both explicitly authorized by Abbot Gregory. Funeral for Mother Miriam Sundown. Visit from Father Augustine. Unrestricted access granted. Embalmed body. Identified as Mother Miriam, there's a large incision down her stomach. Judging for her uneven coloring and chemical scent, she appears to be partially embalmed. Body. The Princess Judith appears to be near above cleanless throat. Wait. Serene. No bruising, however. An angry scar runs around his stomach. Oh, did somebody convince him to get stabbed? It's a bit odd. I don't see anything else of note, so let's go out. Let's talk to the scholar.
You must be Father Augustine. The victim was your apprentice, correct?
Did you murder your own apprentice?
Correct. And you are Sister Ada, the exorcist. It is a unique pleasure.
Okay. Thank you, but I only serve Ain Soph according to my calling. Why are you here, Father? I'm visiting in preparation for my mother's Miriam's sudden funeral. It is true blessing to witness their holy work, Sister Ada. I pray Isaac can rest in peace. How long did Isaac study under you? Did you know him well? He was a fine apprentice, a ready mind and willing soul. I will mourn him in my own way. But I must admit, the prospect of witnessing an exorcism is an unprecedented or unexpected silver lining. I find you guilty, Father Augustine. You'll find the experience to be unpleasant. Tell me now, what happened this afternoon? Leave nothing out. I began by taking my afternoon stroll. Let's go. Show me.
I arrived at the graveyard with Isaac for Mother Miriam's funeral. Isaac headed to the mortuary on a minor errand.
Okay, what? Indeed. You were close to her, Father? No, but the abbot was too busy with mass preparations to hold her funeral, so I was trusted with the task.
Then I passed through the graveyard until I saw the statue of Saint Walpurga. What craftsmanship, and so well maintained.
Okay. Ask. Was there something particular about the statue that caught your eye? Given its age, it's immaculately maintained. The groundskeeper must be skilled.
For most of the afternoon, I was walking through the graveyard, merely observing and admiring.
Ask. That's a lengthy stroll. Tell me more about what you were doing. You doubt me? Show me proof that I was doing something else. Well, you have the ether scanner. It's my ether scanner. I use it to record images and parse it into glyphs. There's muddy footprints. Well, I've written to the mortuary. Unfortunately, I know nothing about this. Perhaps they were Isaac's? Good old Saint Walpurga. Are you quizzing me about her own patron saint? I'm asking what it means to you, Father. Very well. It honors her final victory against Lucifer in the Avi's chapel. A true holy site. For 111 years, no demons have been sighted in our world until today. Okay. It's beautiful. Was it with Isaac? I had him fetch me a bouquet. Strange. So he had Isaac send the bouquet?
At sunset, I wandered to the back area to meet with Isaac. I was surprised to find an open grave with something inside.
Did you see anyone? No, I was the only one near the grave.
I was horrified to discover that it was Isaac's dead body. That's when I called for help.
So you were the first to arrive at the grave? Yes, I was. And so you're not the one who made the footprints, if your things are to say the truth. Where's your datapad, though?
For most of the afternoon, I was walking through the graveyard, merely observing and...
So where is your datapad, buddy? So during your so-called stroll, did you drop this by chance? I found it in place in a gravestone. What were you doing with it? That was nothing to do with Isaac's death. I shall be the judge of that. Tell me, what were you doing? I was using to scanner to recover a lost hymn for Abbot Gregory to use for tonight's mass. The last record of it is etched upon one of these gravestones. Okay, so we got a lot more information. You were searching for a grave.
It took me a little while, but I found it. The grave of Sergius. Then I passed through the graveyard until I saw the statue of Saint Walpurga. It took me a little...
How did you find the grave of Saint Sergius? Are you certain that it is the heretic's resting place? I'm certain. It is identifiable by a unique set of etchings on his gravestone. It takes a scholar's eye to discern the difference from any other gravestones. Show me your inner secrets. Evidence discovered. Disappointment. Why disappointment? Finally, Augustine is unimpressed by the apprentice Isaac's recent research, a mediocre effort made by such potential. Isaac could have been an eminent scholar, if only he was more disciplined and rigorous in his thinking. I admit sometimes I felt he was wasting his gift. His death is even more of a waste, of course.
I placed my scanner in front of the gravestone. It would take some time to decode the etchings.
What were you trying to decode? According to my research, Sergius was buried with the last record of the hymn communion. Unfortunately, it is written in an ancient script that even I can't read. It was obscure even in Sergius' time. Part of my research reconstruct data that was lost or suppressed by Sergius' condemnation.
Then I saw a stranger pass by. He was tall, barrel-chested. I think he was the groundskeeper.
You certain about he came for the rear fields rather than the mortuary? Correct. Okay, so we can claim that somebody came around him.
Afterwards, I waited by the grave for my scanner to complete its task. It was taking longer than I expected, so I had to leave it.
What were you trying to decode? Wait, is that another question area?
When the sun was setting, I wandered to the back area to meet with Isaac and begin the funeral.
But you saw someone. So you instructed Isaac to meet you at the rear fields at dusk. That was the plan, yes. I expected to have found the grave and finished by decoding by this point. Isaac would meet me in the rear fields with a bouquet, and we would attend the funeral.
At sunset, I wandered to the back area to meet with Isaac. I was surprised to find an open grave with something inside.
Did you see anyone? No, I was the only one near the grave. Okay, so we got some evidence. Let's go talk to the groundskeeper now. Groundskeeper Willie, tell me, what secrets you got for me?
Release me! I had nothing to do with that boy.
Sorry, Abraham. Can't let you go just yet.
You must be Abraham, the grave tender.
I am. I've worked here for 30 years, worked hard without complaint. Look around you, every bush trimmed, every hearthstone polished, because of me. I have done all of you've asked and more. Yet, the moment something goes wrong, I'm the one blamed. It's not personal. Even the most steadfast among us may fall prey to Lucifer's whispers, Abraham. You dug the grave in which the victim was found, didn't you? Humph. Actually, I didn't dig anything today. Then who did? How would I know? I've been busy, working, as always.
As the grave tender, any crimes that took place here are your responsibility. If you are truly innocent, hide nothing, and tell me what happened. We'll find the truth together.
Tell me the truth. Okay, well, you already have a bunch of problems in this.
I spent the early afternoon tending to the bushes by the mortuary.
Okay, I'm gonna need more than that. Are you claiming then that you didn't dig the grave? Right. That's what I said. I was busy with the bushes. Okay. Next.
When I headed back to the mortuary, Nerissa told me there was nothing else special to do for the day. So I left her to her work.
Nothing special, but there is a grave to dig. So you were dismissed early in the day? Why didn't you go home? Nerissa made it clear that I should leave her to her work, so I did, but there's plenty of other groundskeeping work to be done. The large headstone out front needed some attention, so I headed that way.
I walked through the mortuary, then headed downhill towards the benches.
You didn't run into anyone? No. No one passed me. Contradict? Lies. You didn't walk through the mortuary after speaking to Nerissa. You passed by the grave. Augustine saw you coming from the back fields. Fine. I did walk through the back fields, past the grave I dug. The grave you dug? People always blaming me for things I didn't do, so I didn't think you'd believe me. I'm sorry. I hadn't said I believe you yet, but we'll see. What was in the grave that you passed by it? Nothing. There was no body, no blood, nothing.
I spent the early afternoon tending to the bushes by the mortuary.
What procedure? What procedure? Did you see what she was doing in the main room of the mortuary? No, of course not. I can't see through walls. But I can see through your mind! Last Scion. I don't know what that is, but sure. Arian's Sanctum. As the last descendant of the disgraced noble lineage, Agron feels loneliness for his family's sentiment. About 100 years ago, the church decided Sergius, my great uncle, was a heretic. I suppose he was. But ever since, they've been persecuting my family, confiscated everything we owned, no to laborers overnight. That's what I'm left with Sergius' line. I took this job to somehow keep working my ancestral lands, one way or another. I was bitter when I started out, but I discovered the work suits me. Maybe it was all Ainsof's plans after all.
When I passed by the grave, it was still empty, ready for the funeral.
So you didn't see the victim, alive or dead, in the rear field at this time, but the grave you dug? Nope, I didn't see anyone at all, or anything suspicious of the matter.
I spent the early afternoon tending to the bushes by the mortuary.
Okay, well, someone had to dig that. That's my shovel. I built it to last. Good workmanship. Just leave it in the mortuary when I'm not using it. The grass grows like weeds in here, so I used to keep that thing everything nice and tidy and neat, the way the graveyard should be. That statue's always an ordeal to clean. 100 some odd years already, as you probably know. Birds love making a mess of her head. I keep her sparkling clean, almost out of spite. I don't know what that is, but I want you to someone put that on the grave. Are you sure it wasn't accidental? It seems so strange to have a murder after all these years without any. Unfortunately, we're sure, Abraham. This is a daemon's work. A pity. A body so young, too. I suppose it's part of Ainsof's will somehow. Those can't be my footprints. It's true that I went inside the mortuary after working outside. That was before the rain. The rain happened afterwards. Notice that. It's my old family's grave. We're not nobility anymore, but the abbey's grounds once belonged to my ancestors. It was all confiscated after my great uncle Sergius was branded a heretic. Too bad for the rest of us. Maybe it's Ainsoft humor to have worked the land now as a labourer. Life has its ups and downs. It's a good job.
I spent the remainder of the afternoon resting on a bench.
You were there until someone called for help? That's right. What about this? What about... There's another lie. Father Augustine claims he saw you kneeling by the headstone. Admit it, Abraham. You weren't resting at all. Fine. I had to tend to the grass around the graves. I didn't mention it because I thought it made me look suspicious. Now you've made yourself even more suspicious. Amend your testimony.
I had a sickle with me because I wanted to trim the grass around a grave in the front field.
Ask. So you admit that you had the sickle with you since you left the mortuary? Yes, I did. And then I used it to trim the grass. That's what it's for. We have been able to read all of you. Grief. Grief. Found in Abraham's sanctum, thought to be 100 years old, Abraham mourns his family's fortunes, so quickly reducing their status. We'll never forget that night. Someone tortured home, trying to burn us alive. Of course, the guards never caught the arsonist. How could they, when it was almost certainly one of their own? Suddenly, I heard the call. A call from back in the field. I ran over, surprised to see a dead body in the grave. Then Father Augustine was the one calling for help. Yeah, he was standing over the grave when I arrived. Nerissa arrived around the same time too. Okay, so we got some verified truths. Let's go talk to the last person. Still don't know what this multi-tool is. Okay, so this is a morgue. Nerissa the Envelmer.
You must be the famed exorcist. It is an honor, sister. I'm Nerissa, and I serve Ainsof by preparing the dead for burial.
Well, hopefully you didn't cause the murder you're gonna involve.
I take pleasure in providing cleanliness and comfort for bodies after their souls have departed.
So you kind of just do the tedious work afterwards.
Nerissa, how did you know the victim?
Not at all. The first time I saw him, he was curled in that grave, dirty and bloody.
So you haven't seen him before?
The whole afternoon, I prepared Mother Miriam's body for burial. There isn't much else to tell.
Okay.
Early this afternoon, I informed Abraham of the funeral scheduled for this evening.
What did you tell him? Then Abraham knew about the funeral? I certainly hope so. Why else would he dig a grave? So he did dig a grave. He lied to me about that too. Why did he keep lying about that?
Once Abraham left, I started preparing the body for burial. I was alone the entire time. No one came by.
That doesn't sound right, because he sent... No one came by at all. Nobody. Which was perfect, because I needed the silence to focus. Okay. Once Abraham left, I started to prepare the body for the ritual. At the time, no one came by.
Mid-afternoon, Abraham barged into the mortuary, bellowing that the grave is now ready. I sent him after Abraham's mid-afternoon.
Why did you send him away? Is Abraham's presence so distracting? Yes. I don't like people standing around and gawk while I'm trying to work. No offense. Okay. You talk to Abraham. Abraham doesn't have that claim.
After Abraham's disturbance, I completed the embalming to the best of my humble abilities.
But nobody else passed by. You consider your work complete then? I did my best, given the circumstances. I always do my best, sister. After Abraham's disturbance, I completed. Okay, but that doesn't actually fit the possibility that there is footprints. So where did these come from? Okay.
Just after dark, I heard a scream from the back field. A dead body was found.
You ran over the grave from the mortuary when you heard the call? Yes, Father Augustine was already there, and Abraham was running over from the front field. Okay. It doesn't really contradict, but I just wanted to clarify. You didn't know the person. So why is a bouquet there?
Once Abraham left, I started preparing the body for burial. I was alone the entire time. No one came by.
Arrived for funeral. So we see a bouquet. We know that the bouquet was a requestment, but it's in your mortuary, and you said nobody came into your mortuary. So somehow you're lying in that regards. Ah, it's Nerissa. Father Augustine saw you speak with Isaac by the entrance of the mortuary. Isaac entered the mortuary. Admit it. Very well. There's no use hiding it. Please know that nothing untoward happened. The victim only stopped for a moment. Okay, well, you've amended your thing.
Early this afternoon, I informed... The truth is that the apprentice did come by. He asked for a bouquet for the funeral later that day.
Okay. Did you notice anything about the victim at this time? No, he seemed like a normal, healthy young man to me. Show me your secrets! Famine survivor. Memory found within Nerissa's sanctum. She grew up during the Great Famine, feeding on anything she could find. She eventually found substance, but at what cost? Without faith, I could have never persevered through those days. We're grateful that Ain softened the kind souls of our church.
When I showed him the bouquet, he held it for a moment and then threw it on the floor. I suppose it wasn't to his master's tastes. I forgot to pick it back up.
But why? So he didn't take the bouquet with him? No, he decided it was best to be returned empty-handed rather than to bring something unworthy. Okay.
Then the boy asked to be taken to the rear fields before the funeral, so I led him out the back exit.
What about these muddy footprints? Okay, so we got some evidence to prove some of you.
Mid-afternoon, Abraham barged into the mortuary, bellowing that the grave is now ready. I sent him away to focus.
Bloody liver. Finally, the table's other entrails, still warm and moist. It appears to be mangled in some way. Perhaps smashed. Okay, so let's go talk to you. So we know that this is a lie.
Afternoon tending to the bushes by the
You might trim the hedges most day, but you didn't today, did you? Instead, Nerissa asked you to dig a grave for the funeral. That's true. It's a normal part of my job. I shouldn't have lied about it, I know. I worried that if I told you the truth, I thought you'd think I killed the boy, but I didn't. When you lie to me, you veil the truth from the eye of Ein Soft. Speak the truth now. There's no room for error in this investigation. Fine. I dug the grave for the funeral, just doing my job, but it was empty when I left it. Another one? Integrity. You have integrity, my friend? Found in Abraham's sanctum, he values honesty and sincerity. He generally loves lying to try to escape accusations. I regret lying. I'm an honest person, but it felt like I had to defend myself somehow from being accused. I'm not accusing you.
told me there'd be an urgent funeral in the evening. I'm not usually told who it's for.
So you didn't know that the grave was for Mother Miriam? No, I didn't even ask who it was for. I never do. Doesn't change how deep the hole needs to be.
So I picked up the shovel and went down to the rear plot to dig a new grave.
You didn't run into anyone on your way to the grave? No, no one passed me. Contradict. It doesn't really prove you wrong, but it proves... like, this specific piece of evidence contradicts this piece of evidence.
The ground was hard. Took me some time to dig that hole.
Ask. So the grave was dug this afternoon? Yes, I was surprised by the short notice. Usually I'm told the day before. What about your shovel? Where did you put your shovel?
I took a long break while digging. It's within my rights. There wasn't anyone else around, so it was nice and peaceful.
Are you certain there was nobody? Are you certain there was no one around? There wasn't anybody. It was just me. Well, that's not true because Isaac took that exit. Certain that no one's around. My family's honored. I swear, I saw no one while digging on the grave. Certainly not seen Nerissa or the boy come through. Despite a conflict in the other's testimony, the subject insists the following is true.
I took a long break while then I got back to it and finished digging the grave.
So the grave was dug this afternoon.
When the grave was ready, I walked back to the mortuary to let Nerissa know.
So these would be your footprints then, because they'd be muddy. No, no one passed by me. Again, no sort of way to predict. Actually, you know what this is? That's definitely Nerissa's. I've seen her used at the table many times, getting the dead ready to rest. Suppose it cuts with repairs, but I never used one myself. This can't be my footprints. They threw I went inside the mortuary after working outside. That was before the rain. I don't know anything about this. Nerissa handles all the scheduling and tells me when it needs to do something. Okay. Let's go back to you, Nerissa.
Mid-afternoon, Abraham barged. Then the boy asked to be taken to the rear fields before the funeral. So
no, I don't want to accuse. I need to contradict. You didn't run into anyone. I don't know why Abraham would lie, but the victim left through that door. I swear I saw it myself. So they both conflict. Ask. This is a smaller branch cemetery, the quieter space for more wealthy patrons. No other burials scheduled for today or even this week.
After Abraham's disturbance, I completed the embalming.
This is Mother Miriam's embalmed liver. Seems rather deformed. What happened to it? My apologies, Sister Ada. I must have mishandled it. Organs are very delicate, you know. How did you finish this if this is outside? I found your multi-tool, Nerissa. I am grateful, Sister Ada. Where did you find this? It was lying in the grass near the staircase. Impossible, unless someone else had stolen it. Surely Abraham couldn't do such a thing. Why are you trying to pin it on him? How could you've worked without your multi-tool? I don't know if the case is wrong here. So we know that there's got to be some evidence that we have not proven to you there. Ah, Mother Miriam, this was the body I was preparing for the funeral tonight. Horrible today. At least our organs were intact. Augustine. So you search for the grave, place the scanner, arrive for arrival. Pass through a graveyard until you saw the statue. Actually, yeah, I guess we can...
Then I passed through the graveyard until I saw the statue.
Can you confirm this alibi? Was there something particular this guy caught your eye? Perhaps that's true. I wasn't there. I didn't see him do it myself, but there was a freshly dug grave in the rear field.
It took me a little while, but then I passed through.
I didn't see him do it himself. Okay.
I placed...
Couldn't tell you if he did it or not. I never set foot in the mortuary. Was there something particular about this statue that caught your eye? No, that's another question. I have no reason to doubt that she showed the bouquet, but I considered why Isaac would leave the bouquet at the mortuary. I didn't think he feared my disapproval so much. Perhaps he was more sensitive than I knew. It's beautiful. Was it with Isaac? I had asked him to fetch me a bouquet. Strange.
At sunset, I wandered to the back area to meet with Isaac. I was surprised to find an open grave with something inside.
Okay, so let's go back to talking to Abraham. See if he can corroborate some of
with me because I wanted to trim the grass around a grave in the...
I only arrived to call for help, so I didn't see what he was doing then. I didn't see him myself, I was busy with the headstone. I don't know what he expects to find with the etchings, but nothing from trouble.
When I passed by the grave.
Didn't know who he expected for the etchings. Okay.
Then I took a long break while digging. It's within my rights. There wasn't anyone else around. The ground was hard. So I picked up the shovel and went down to the rear plot to dig a new grave. The ground was hard. The ground was hard.
He's here for the funeral. I didn't see him at that time in any case.
When I passed by the grave.
That sounds like what she'd be up to, but I was outside the whole time, so I can't be certain. So he doesn't know if you did it or not. Do you know of this liver? You say that's a liver? If it is, it looks like a dog got into it. However, an angry scar runs through his stomach. Whoa, wait, what? His liver, wait. Bloody liver, body. You sure it wasn't an accident? It seems so strange to have a murder with all these years without any. You have the possibility of doing it. You had the multi-tool. There's a liver missing. You're a embalmer. You can tell me about this body. Ask. Can we perform an autopsy on the victim's body, Nerissa? I have your multi-tool here. Is it truly necessary, Sister Ada? The victim's cause of death is clearly having his throat slit. There is something peculiar about his abdominal scar. Let's reopen it and see what lies within. As you wish, sister. Please give me a moment. There, it's ready. Good, let's have a closer look. What is this? His liver? It's loose. It's not attached to the rest of his organs at all. It's an involved liver. You can tell by the patchy coloring. But I have no idea why it would be in the victim's body when he only had just died. Wait a second.
After Abraham's disturbance, I completed the embalming.
So we got a liver.
When I showed him the bouquet, he held it for a moment and then threw it on the floor. I suppose it wasn't to his master's taste. I forgot to pick it back up. After Abraham's disturbance, I complete just after dark, I heard a scream from the back field. A dead body was found. After Abraham's disturbance, I completed the embalming to...
So when could you have done that? Everyone takes extra care in maintaining that grave. I often spot him standing over it. It's an involved liver, you can tell by the patchy coloring. But I had no idea why it would be in the victim's body when he only had just died. I apologize for the filth. Normally the mortuary kept pristine, I assure you, but today is hardly a normal day. A scanner. I don't use anything like that for my work. Abraham uses it to dig graves, but it's far too heavy for me to even carry. Saint Wilpolga watches all over us today. Hello, DF. Sorry I didn't catch you. Just basically trying to solve these murder cases. People keep being murdered, you know. I am Nerissa, the embalmer of this mortuary. I pray that I am known for cleanliness and thoroughness. Abraham has been a groundskeeper in St. Wilpolga for years. Keeps to himself just as well. Prefer not to be interrupted in my work. Yes, he discovered the body. I don't believe I've ever met him before. Mother Miriam was involved by everyone's at St. Walpurgis. I'm honored to prepare the body for her funeral. He was found in the grave, correct? How dreadful, so young too. I never seen him prior to today. Okay. So, if you think I did it, how could I have done it? Do you see a weapon in here? Well, you have your tool. Surgical multi-tool is designed to for precise incisions into the hardened tissue. It would have sliced right through a living body with ease. Opportunity. Preparing a body, preparing the entire afternoon. When could have possibly done such a thing? Talk to Isaac. When you killed Isaac, he was visiting the mortuary to fetch the bouquet. I admit he came by, but he left shortly afterwards. If he died in the mortuary, why was his body found in the grave? Because his body was moved. This was when it happened. Motive. I never even met the victim before today. Why would I even want to kill him? What would I gain? I don't think you the problem is I don't think I have the right motive. There's no reason why you would kill him. You would want to kill him, but I don't know why. You consider your work complete then? I did my best given the circumstances. I would do my best, sister. If you did your best, then why do you have this? If you did your best, then why is this liver here? The liver is still bloody. How could you possibly claim it's ready for burial? I couldn't finish the burial in time because I misplaced my surgical tool. I searched all over the mortuary for it, but I couldn't find it anywhere. So you look for your multi-tool. Oh. We got more evidence. Show me part 2. Carnivore? What? As in you don't eat plants? Found in recent sanctums, enjoys exotic cuts of meat, especially fresh entrails and organs. Oh god, no, are you a cannibal? Perhaps I enjoy meat too much. But everyone has a soft spot for something, don't they?
After Abraham left, I noticed that my multi-tool wasn't in my pocket. I searched all over the mortuary for it, but it was missing.
It wasn't in the mortuary? That seems improbable. I thought the same, but I searched everywhere inside. It's just not here. Somehow. Okay.
I did what I could without making new incisions, but that made things slower and messier. I'm not pleased with the results. After Abraham left, I noticed that my multi-tool wasn't in my pocket. I searched all over the mortuary for it, but it was missing.
You searched for it? Then why is the liver gone? So you search for something here. The body was not visible.
I did what I could without making new incisions, but that made things slower.
What about these muddy footprints then? Explain these muddy footprints, Nerissa. This indicates someone left and then returned to the mortuary during the rain. Given that Father Augustine remained outside and that Abraham left before the rain, these must be your footprints. I'm sorry, Sister Ada, for all the lies and for the filth. I can't wait to clean it up. I admit that I did step outside briefly to search for the multi-tool, but since it was raining, I couldn't find anything, so the embalming remains sadly unfinished. So you did go outside. Cannibal! I don't like this. That's a pretty bad one. Asiners and sanctums, a deep temptation to devour human flesh. How long has it been in this hunger? Terrible tendency of mine, but it's harmless, I assure you. Only nibble at the entrails that no one would want. Yeah, that's a no.
I was desperate to find the tool to finish my work. I tried searching outside, but I couldn't find anything in the rain.
Why would you assume it would be outside? I suppose I panicked. I thought it would have rolled outside when the door was open, but you never were anywhere near it. Nobody would have seen you.
I did what I could without making new incisions, but that made things slower and messier. I'm not pleased with the results.
How did you hope to finish the embalming without your tool? I started pulling organs with my hands and sealing the incisions with bandages. It seemed better than sitting with my hands. I have a reputation to protect.
I was desperate to find the tool to finish my... I did what I could without making new...
I mean, you'd say so, but you never finished. Because this liver was outside.
I was desperate to find the tool to finish my work. I tried searching outside, but I couldn't find anything in the rain.
So you went outside in the rain.
Without making new incisions, but that made things slower and messier. I'm not pleased with the results.
So we can accuse... because you're a cannibal. Your austere child has led you to develop a deep craving for exotic meats. Certainly a rare flesh that has sustained you in a previous need. Working with an embalmer must have tempted you, day in and day out. You were so virtuous for so long. You were handled the organs as part of the preparing bodies. You could easily imagine the taste, the texture, yet you resisted. Then Isaac arrived, Damon spoke, and you can no longer ignore your hunger. Fresh, juicy liver at your fingertips. It could be so much tastier than the cold entrails you've handled from the corpses. All you had to do is slit his open stomach, and then you've done hundreds of times. If he died in the mortuary, was his body found in his grave? If you just missed, Averin, you weren't searching for the multi-tool. You dragged the victim's body to the grave, hoping to bury it before anyone arrived.
Ain Suf sees all, Nerissa.
Oh my god, she did it! I really felt like Augustine could have had more evidence against him, but...
You are the only person who could have killed Isaac. Do you deny it?
Curse you, and curse Ain Suf. How can the eye see all? Does it see my suffering?
So you did do it. Nerissa, you should have waited for your lawyer.
Where was Ain Suf when my family was dying in the street? Chewing on leather just to live another day.
Rip.
The famine was a test, Nerissa. Ain Suf wanted you to demonstrate your faith, your will to live.
No will to live on this one.
Have you ever felt true hunger? When you haven't eaten for days, reality shifts. The body needs.
We all have our challenges set out before us, Nerissa. Some more difficult than others.
I don't know, I feel like famine is pretty bad. Like, that's like super bad of like trying to suffer somebody's will, because you will really die and suffer for that.
You think I was the only one that fed on human flesh?
It's not for me to judge what you did back then. That's between you and your confessor.
Hey DF, yeah, I'm alright. Just basically playing this detective game in which we just randomly click on buttons and hopefully find the case to why people are dying or people are suffering. In this case, apparently the criminal mastermind apparently was a embalmer that was a cannibal. Yeah. But it's seemingly faith related game of like detective in which you're kind of like an inquisitor of sorts. Interesting, though it is kind of short as for what I've read. So let's see how long it actually lasts.
But today, you murdered an innocent youth so that you could feed on his liver. A daemon has possessed you.
Mm-hmm.
Confess, Nerissa. Speak the truth. It is time.
Speak it.
Early this afternoon, I informed Abraham of the funeral scheduled for this evening.
I guess we can just go to each of them.
The truth is, that boy did come by. He asked for a bouquet for the funeral later that day. When I brought him to the bouquet table, I don't know what came over me. The hunger clenched my belly suddenly.
And you stabbed him.
I've seen the butchers do it. It only took a quick slash to his throat, and he fell to the floor. I knew where to get the best cut. His liver. It was still warm. I couldn't believe the taste. Like nothing I've eaten before. Heavenly.
God damn. Why? Why? The demon had possessed you.
Then, Abraham barged into the mortuary, bellowing that the grave is now ready. I sent him away to focus. My senses were returning, and I cleaned up my mess. I sealed the boy's body, putting the liver from the body I had been embalming inside and sealing it.
Why would you put that liver there, huh? That seems to kind of... Weird thing is that you would help me with this.
I carried him to the new grave and quickly tossed him in. I heard someone coming, so I didn't have time to bury him. I was shaking with adrenaline.
So you ran away with the body as quickly as possible as it started to rain. Jeez, you didn't even bother to drop him properly.
Returned to the mortuary, my multi-tool must have slipped out of my apron's pocket. I stored what was left of the liver among the other entrails, hoping to finish it later. I wanted to savor its deep, rich flavors.
Wow, that's messed up.
Sooner than I anticipated, I heard a scream from the backfield. Someone had already discovered the body.
Yeah, so surprisingly, Augustine really wasn't the cause of it at all. I mean, I didn't think Abraham did it because he proved to be too honest. Augustine we didn't know enough about, and there's obviously some sort of disappointment or some aspect of it, but it didn't feel like you had a reason for it. Alright, time to bring the demon out.
Its soul is twisted by demonic influence.
Bring out the demons! Bring out the demons!
The daemon's true name. Then the daemon will be cast out and be banished to the ether.
I don't think that's how demons work, but sure.
Insuf, guide me. What daemon has possessed Nerissa?
There's only one that actually is about food, though.
Out, Beelzebub! Leave this soul and return whence you
Jeez,
came.
Beelzebub, what happened to you?
No! We must feed! Nerissa! Delicious, scrumptious little morsel.
Scrumptious!
We must have more. The hunger is an endless pit. More!
Speak, Beelzebub. Why has your kind returned?
Hunger is a primal need.
Okay, but that doesn't make any sense why you've returned.
Just feed on lesser life forms, growing them in captivity for slaughter.
Uh-huh.
We feed on you. The meat of your emotions, the marrow of your deepest desires.
That still doesn't make any sense, but sure.
Prey upon us no longer, Beelzebub.
Beelzebub.
Return to the ether and never come back.
Because I said so nicely. So leave!
I must obey for now, but we won't be gone too long.
Oh no.
Tonight, Lucifer will open the gates of hell.
Tonight? Oh god.
The only one allowed to feast. Ada, you juicy little morsel. We shall devour you soon. You and all the other delicacies.
Stop devouring the filth. See ya, demon.
Nerissa. Do you hear me, Nerissa? Was I too late?
Does nothing remain of your soul?
Goodbye, Nerissa. May Ain Soph make you whole again.
So this is the power of an exorcist. I've dreamed of seeing this.
Augustine, you are still not clear. I still possibly believe that you were also affected by something, but hey.
Looks a bit different than I imagined, however. What's happening to her?
She did. She really do be brain dead. Well, she's definitely having some delirium.
Ada, look out!
Huh?
Is she attacking me?
Halt, Nerissa. Good. I've stunned her. Are you all right, Sister Ada?
Yes. You came just in time. My thanks, Virgil.
Why did she need to be rescued by the man character here? She could have easily just not have this scene. Not needed. It could have been also like a justification in which Ada saved somebody else, but weird that in this case it's a return back to the norm of how the lady is the one in distress, or the one that needs to be assisted here, which is a little weird. But maybe, speaking of even the narrative here, maybe then by having it, I don't know, it could be an inversion, thinking that you would have something that is a strong female character that basically doesn't need to be saved, but I don't know.
Ain Soph, save us! Another possession! Another killing! How is this possible? Who is responsible?
It is you, Abbott.
Virgil, you have failed us.
What? Don't blame him. He's the one who's insisting more than anything. Unless he's been secretly hiding all of this.
Unfortunately, Father, I believe you are primarily responsible. We should have listened to Ada. She warned us about the contaminated body, and its demons spread, just as she said.
We must act now. We can't waste any more time bickering about who's to blame. The daemon within Nerissa spoke of Lucifer's return. He walks among us.
It's perverse that they would return now on the holiest of days. Why? Are we being punished?
Yes.
It doesn't matter why. The Abbey is unsafe, Father. Cancel the Mass. Send the pilgrims home. If you proceed, you are risking all their lives.
No, Father. You must stay the course. We've worked too hard for this moment.
Whoa, 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 whoa. Who are you to say anything?
I have decoded the ancient hymn of communion. The Mass can proceed as planned.
And no. Stop it.
This chance will not come again for another century. It's literally the last chance we have in our lifetime.
No, I don't care. Stop the Mass.
What is the significance of that hymn? Why must it be sung tonight?
According to Augustine's research, it honors Saint Walpurga and her victory in a way uniquely pleasing to Ain Soph.
Okay, now I'm really suspecting that Augustine is actually Lucifer.
I protest. But if you absolutely must hold the Mass, at least allow me to guard you at the altar. You are putting yourself in danger. What if you were possessed?
That may be unwise, Father. Surely if things are as dangerous as you say,
Whoa, whoa, whoa.
should be trusted.
Augustine, stop turning it around. It's literally you. You're... If I could literally exorcise someone, I'm exercising you right now.
Lucifer.
That's absurd! You witnessed the exorcism!
No, I saw her turn a woman into a rabid beast. What really transpired in the ether when she supposedly exorcised these demons?
Wow, now you're casting doubt into me?
She invokes the demons' names. She knows them more intimately than any of us.
Of course I do. I'm the exorcist. I need to know who they are to defeat them.
I speak their names to control them and then banish them. You know this.
Or perhaps you are being used by them. How would we know?
Then why would I solve the case, dummy? Jeez. People just don't understand basic bias here.
The only thing that possesses me is the flame of Ain Soph. I shouldn't have to defend myself.
Actually, what Augustine says makes
What?
sense. We should be extra cautious.
And then you wouldn't be extra cautious about him? What is this?
At the Mass. If you truly believe Lucifer lurks at my abbey, find him. Unmask him.
It's literally right beside you.
Search the grounds as you like, but stay away from the chapel or I will have you put in a cell.
Then what? What?
Nothing can be permitted to interrupt the Mass and the hymn.
The hymn is bad. He was a heretic. Literally, you are singing the hymn to a heretic that would basically bring Lucifer up. How am I the only one seeing this and I'm not even religious?
Especially after the events of today. Saint Walpurga deserves to be honored for her victories.
No.
Inquisitor, Augustine, come. We have much to prepare. Very wise, Father. As always. Farewell, sister.
I don't like you.
It would be best if you were wrong, Ada.
But I'm filled with dread.
That's because it is. Lucifer will strike tonight, Virgil. I only pray he strikes at me instead of at the Mass. Stay vigilant.
Stay vigilant, Virgil. Poisoned by Father Augustine's against me, Abbot Gregory ordered I remain outside the chapel of his Mass. At midnight, the gathered pilgrims lifted his voices in praise of Iron Soft. They were cut short by a thunderous crash. Another soul taken. It's always like this. Why? Why do people not listen?
Where's Abbot Gregory? What interrupted his Mass?
His death, I imagine?
The abbot. His death was the interruption. A third murder, I'm afraid.
Of course. Of course he's dead this time too.
The lights went out during Mass. Moments later, the statue of Saint Walpurga crashed down from the ceiling, impaling Abbot Gregory with its spear.
Wow, okay, that's kind of gruesome.
An assassination, then. But why? We must determine who is possessed immediately. Examining the facts will reveal Ainsof's truth.
How many people do we got?
How was the statue held in place?
Due to its weight, we had to rely on using aether-powered restraints to hang it above the altar.
Is that like magic technology, I guess?
Which means the killer must have sabotaged the 2 power generators on the balcony floor.
Okay, whoever sabotaged the generators is the cause.
There were only 2 people on the balcony during the Mass. I've detained them for interrogation.
Really?
I've sent the pilgrims back to town, lest they panic and disturb the evidence.
You shouldn't have sent them back.
Excellent work, Virgil. Who are the suspects? You said there were 2.
You already know them. Brother Gideon and Father Augustine.
Really? Okay.
Since you are a key witness to the events, I will of course hear your testimony as well. May Ainsof show us the truth behind all of today's events.
It could be Virgil. He's a third witness. We got 3 people. Let us examine the death first. Examine the death. Abbot Gregory was stabbed through the chest by a statue spear given communion mass. Examine. Statue. A hanging statue, stone of Saint Walpurga. It was recently outfitted with a spear of relics suspended by above altar using aether restraints. Spear. Spear held by the statue of Saint Walpurga appears to have an etheric mechanism of unknown origin. Talk to you last, chaps. Gotta make sure that we find the devil's leaf in my church. There. The abbey has been cleansed of the devil's herb. The devil's herb? Sister Ada, those appear to be pieces of cilantro. Do not speak its name. It makes shudder. Just think about that disgusting soapy flavor. I quite like it with beef flavor, personally. Adds a bright, refreshing flavor. Enough, Virgil. Let us speak of this no more. Return to the investigation. She has the genetic disposition to not like cilantro, huh? Wait, this looks like the same thing as the control panel. The organ. Massive musical instrument similar to the organ in the cybernetics tower. Yeah, that's what I was saying. This is the power. West generator. West generator. This generator normally powers the lights of the ether restraints. In conjunction with its counterpart, the east balcony, it's fried by some sort of etheric discharge. Okay. Let's go find what else. One thing I found in this corner was a hammer. Ritual hammer. 2-handed bronze hammer used for ring the ritual bell during mass. Ritual bell. An old bronze bell ring during mass. I guess that rang at some point. Cybernetic remains. What? Cybernetic remains. Found near the power generator in the east balcony, overloaded and shattered to bits. East generator. The generator normally powers the lights of the ether restraints. In conjunction with its counterpart in the west balcony, it's been fried some sort of etheric discharge. Okay, is that all evidence? Don't see any more. Yeah, there is a sort of isometric angle, meaning that I can't search around certain areas. Alright. Let's get your testimony first, as you are the first idea to be the least biased, but if we believe the possibility that you have been in every crime after the fact or during the fact, which means that you possibly have been tainted. Sister, we must bring the divine justice upon the sinner who killed Abbot Gregory. I only wish to act as Inquisitor here, but I submit to your authority that I witnessed tonight.
We arrived shortly before the mass began.
So you were here, the whole thing. Okay, you arrived. Before we do that, ask, did you notice anything about the Abbot Gregory as you were arriving? The Abbot seemed agitated about the chapel security. He was eager to send me off to the balcony floor.
I began my patrol by securing the east side of the balcony. I saw Gideon examining the ritual bell.
Well, you were in the east balcony. Did you notice anything strange? Nothing of note. The generator seemed fine, at least to my eyes.
Then, I patrolled the south balcony.
Well, you were in the south balcony. Did you notice anything strange? No, I don't think so.
Everything appeared to be in order, so I ended my patrol and watched over the chapel from the south balcony.
Why did you position yourself in the south balcony? It gives me a clear vantage point over the entire chapel.
As I heard the ritual bell ring for the second time, the lights went out.
Are you certain about the timing? Absolutely. It was the second ringing of the ritual bell. Perhaps the culprit brings something to the bell or the hammer that caused the lights to fall.
I suspected foul play, so I headed towards the west generator. Along the way, I discovered Gideon lying unconscious.
Gideon was lying unconscious? Why didn't you help him? As cruel as it sounds, I had little choice but to leave Gideon there. The culprit was going to strike again. I had to hurry. How would you know that?
To protect the remaining generator, I ran towards the east balcony. Along the way, I heard an explosion.
An explosion? From where? Somewhere in the north end of the east balcony. It was probably the east generator.
Then, the statue's aether restraints deactivated, dropping and impaling Abbot Gregory. May he rest in peace.
So you saw with your own eyes that the restraints failed? That's right. Shortly after the explosion, the restraints flickered out, which caused the statue to come crashing down.
Then, the statue's aether restraints deactivated. When I arrived at the generator, Augustine was standing nearby, smirking at the carnage he caused. I arrested him there and then.
You seem certain that Augustine is the culprit. Did you see him sabotage the generator? No, I arrived too late for that. However, there wasn't anyone else nearby. It has to be him. Okay. Thanks for your corroboration. Let's get Augustine's.
Ah, poor Abbot Gregory. We had such hopes and plans together.
I mean, I don't like the fact that you basically seem so guilty about this, but you are human, so you are capable of faulting and believing that things that are not right are right, kind of thing.
If only he had listened to your sage advice, Sister Ada. Perhaps he would be safe now, hmm?
Why are you so... You make it seem so likely that it's you.
I cannot ignore that you are the link. Everything that has happened today points back to you, Augustine.
It must be a tragic coincidence. The abbot was my friend and trusted ally. I wished...
You really do not sound convincing.
Explain your actions. What were you doing on the balcony?
With Mother Miriam's passing, Abbot Gregory needed someone to ring the ritual bell.
Okay.
I volunteered. It was an honor.
Okay. Explain.
The abbot, Virgil, and I arrived at the chapel just before the mass.
Ask. Soon after arrival, it seems that you went your separate ways? Yes. Abbot Gregory sent Inquisitor Virgil away to patrol the balcony floor. The abbot himself went to the altar, while I took seat in the pews.
Inquisitor, prepare. As you command. When I headed to my seat for the mass to begin, I was rather excited for the proceedings.
Why? Tell me, what were you excited for? Tonight was the culmination of my labors. All of my scholarship pointed towards this very moment. The spear, the statue, the hymn, all gathered in one place.
We began by singing the hymn of communion. It was glorious.
How can I trust that you were not doing something else? Sister Ada, why would I be doing anything else at this time? I did not translate the hymn to just hear it sung by some pilgrims. No, I had to be part of this glorious moment. I was singing it with all my heart. I think that's probably the first truth you've given us so far.
When the sermon started, I headed to the balcony to prepare to ring the bell.
So this was when you arrived on the balcony floor? That's right. I was on the balcony. I was on the ground until then. What about his patrol? So this was... I had yet to arrive on the balcony floor, so I cannot say whether he had done this.
When the sermon started, I headed to the balcony to prepare to ring the bell.
I had yet to arrive on the balcony. So okay, so you hadn't arrived yet, so you had no way to tell. I don't recall him seeing the south balcony at the time. Perhaps I just didn't notice.
I rang the bell to announce the start of communion. When the sermon...
So this was when you arrived at the balcony floor. That's right. I was on the ground floor until then.
I rang the bell.
I rang the bell, then noticed that Gideon was absent from the other balcony, but I didn't think much of it. Okay. When you rang the virtual bell the first time, were the lights still on? Yes, everything seemed fine. You didn't see Gideon on the other side, okay.
I rang the bell a second time. I rang the bell a...
Strange. It seems that the lights went dark just after the second time you rang the bell. I'm sure it's just a coincidence.
Suddenly, the lights went out, and the chapel was covered in darkness. I stood calmly by the bell, waiting for someone to fix the problem.
Why wait? Why not investigate the situation yourself? Sister Ada, not everyone is as nosy as you are. Besides, I did not want to get in any way or ruin any precious evidence or incriminate myself somehow. So you saw the statue fall, then? Yes, once the aether restraints deactivated, there was nothing holding it in place at all.
Moments later, the statue dropped from the ceiling.
Rip.
And I saw the abbot impaled by the statue. I'll never forget that image. That's when Virgil arrested me.
That's not necessarily true. Ask. So you stood near the bell and waited for Virgil to arrest you. Why not try to escape? It's obvious that you would be a suspect. Because I had nothing to fear from Virgil. I had great faith in your abilities, Sister Ada. I knew you would prove my innocence, as you shall if you examine the facts, and so in soft guide you. Okay. So you stood near the bell and waited for Virgil to arrest you. Why not try to escape? No, what I'm trying to... What if I contradict you? Liar. When Virgil arrested you, you were not standing by the bell. You were standing by the near generator overlooking the altar. True. But what does that few feet matter? You were the only one near the east generator before its statues fell. Perhaps you sabotaged it. Ah, but I only approached the generator because I heard an explosion. After I arrived after the sabotage, not before. Okay. So we collected earlier one. Pride. So he is prideful.
But I saw the abbot impaled by the statue. On the other balcony, I could see someone looking down at the altar. That's when Virgil arrested me.
Okay. What do you have to say about your pride, buddy? Is that what you see deep within me? Interesting. Suppose it's difficult to remain humble when I feel everything that has happened is so very predictable. A great loss for our community. This mass was the abbot's dream for many years. I'm a scholar of the ethereal matters, as you may recall, relics and the like, so you would know about how this works. Excellent cybernetician, an organ player. Still, I think Reuben was the true talent among the two of them. Alas. Inquisitor Virgil strikes me as someone who is so devout. I can't even discuss my research with him. A pity. Okay.
When the sermon started, I headed to the balcony to prepare. When I headed to my...
I did not see him do this, however, I had no reason to doubt it either.
Then I heard an explosion. I discovered that...
So you chose to investigate the explosion after all. What happened to not being nosy? When the lights went out, I had no idea what the problem was, or where it was happening. The explosion was different. It was close to me. I could see the east generator had gone offline. You can't fault me about being curious. Perhaps it was a bit foolhardy of me, with the murderer about. Okay. Fair. Let's go talk to the last guy. Gideon.
This can't be happening. Yet another death? Am I to be blamed again?
It's possible, buddy. You did kind of possibly commit your brother, or almost kill your brother back there. Actually, I guess your brother committed envy to basically get murdered, but it's fine.
Calm yourself, Gideon.
I am innocent! Even more, I'm a victim here. I was attacked. Surely that puts me above suspicion. You were attacked? By whom? I couldn't see them. Whoever it was, they attacked me from behind. I was knocked unconscious until the guards found me. You waited by the organ. Okay, well, let's go through your...
At the start of the night, I was waiting near the organ.
Nobody can clarify that, though. I guess that's a long waiting. Does not seem like you. You had nothing else to do? No, there was nothing else to do but wait. I practiced patience, for once. Doesn't seem very you, but sure.
When the mass began, I played the entry hymn on the organ. I think I played well enough, though I didn't have much time to practice it.
Like less than a day? Was this hymn of communion from Father Augustine? Yes, it was a magnificent piece.
After the opening hymn, I listened to Abbot Gregory's sermon. It was a pretty good one.
What was it about? Indeed. What did the abbot speak about his sermon? The end of Ain Sof's silence. His excitement was obvious and contagious. I wish he'd been right. It'd been so much easier if I could hear Ain Sof's voice when I was so uncertain. Okay. Then you got knocked unconscious?
When the ritual of communion began, someone attacked me from behind. I fell unconscious until just now.
And that's all. Truly? You were laying on the floor the whole time? That's right. That's right. By the time I woke up, the pilgrims had all been sent away. That's not what someone said. If Inquisitor Virgil find me then, guess he didn't get me up. I was alone when I woke up. Guess he had more important things to do. truly, you were lying on the floor the whole time. No, I obviously didn't see him then. I was unconscious. No, because somebody saw you on the other balcony. You're the only one there. Lies. You were awake, Gideon. After the statue dropped, Augustine saw someone looking down the west balcony. Since Virgil was behind Augustine, it has to be you. What were you doing there? Did you lie about the attack too? No! I wasn't really attacked. I really woke up just before the statue fell. I was trying to fix the generator. Let's go through those evidences things again, okay?
When the ritual of communion began, someone attacked me from behind. I fell unconscious until just...
Let's see what you got here for me. Fear. Okay, that's not really something that's bad. That's actually something that would generally give you an alibi. Why would you lie about it, though? Why should I believe you this time, Gideon? How do I know that there really was an attacker? Because it's true! Do you really think I'd make up a story like that? If I were the culprit, I hope I would have told a better lie than this. Lies don't really help you here, but...
Sometime later, I woke up in darkness. I realized that one of the power generators must have been disabled.
How did you know that? By the time you woke up, the culprit was long gone. Correct! Not that I could see much around me. Chapel's light had gone dark while I was unconscious. I mean, you did go unconscious around this time, okay. So if you watched over the chapel, how did you not see somebody knock unconscious? It's interesting there, Virgil.
So I headed to the west power generator and inspected it. It was completely fried. There was nothing I could do to restore it.
How do you know that? Clearly this doesn't work. What happened? If it hadn't had a malfunction, I would quickly fixed it by hand. Unfortunately, the circuit was completely fried. There was nothing I could do.
As I was inspecting the generator, I heard an explosion from the east balcony. Then the statue dropped from the ceiling.
How did the statue drop, exactly? It happened so quickly that I didn't see it myself. Presumably somehow the restraints had been deactivated. The only way it is possible is both west and east generators failed simultaneously. Okay.
I looked over the balcony to see Abbot Gregory was impaled by the statue's spear. He was killed. I wish I'd been unconscious.
How did the statue drop exactly? I had nothing to do with Abbot Gregory's death, I swear it! Did you...
Opening him,
Watching over us? Watching over us? I doubt it. Wouldn't have seen my attacker.
At the start of the night, I was with...
I have no idea whatever he did this, because I was in the west balcony. And E would be in the east balcony. Okay. Virgil, let's go back talk to you.
I began my patrol by securing the vein. Everything appeared to be in order, so I ended my patrol.
He was knocked unconscious. Gideon is terrified that in his involvement, yet another murder will destroy his reputation. He wants to find any excuse to blame someone else. I did find Gideon laying on the floor, yes. Everything appeared in order, so I ended my patrol and watched these.
As I heard, everything appeared to be in order, so I ended my patrol and watched over the chapel from the south balcony. I suspected foul play, so I headed towards the west generator. Along the way.
Gideon says he woke up. You say he was asleep. An Inquisitor and servant of Einstoff. I swear that I speak the truth and Gideon was not awake then. So he wasn't awake, but you're saying that he was awake. You confirm that he was No, he's lying. I saw him in the east balcony at that time. You did, huh?
I began my patrol by securing the east side of the balcony. I saw Gideon. arrived shortly before the mass began.
No, he's lying. I saw him in the east balcony at the time. Okay, Gideon, let's go back to you.
At the start of the night, I was waiting near the organ.
Inquisitor, prepare.
But he says he's lying to you. Lies, Gideon. Virgil saw you standing near the ritual bell by the prior to Mass. What were you doing? Early? I'm innocent, but maybe the attack damaged my memory. What do you say does sound familiar? Did I misremember? I do recall being by the bell. When did exactly that happen? Let me think. Okay, well, you got more evidence to prove against you. Shattered confidence. Ask. Of course I'm afraid of being framed for murder. It would ruin everything. I'm meant to be for greater things. He is a narcissist. I have done nothing wrong, but I can't help but worrying that I'm slipping under pressure somehow.
Given the tragic events of this morning, I examined the condition of the east generator to ensure the safety of the chapel.
Why? Did you discover anything strange about the generator? No, everything was in order. It's extremely likely the failure was an accident. I lost his voice already.
Next, I checked the ritual bell. As I was doing this, I saw Inquisitor Virgil gazing at the altar.
At the altar? You saw Inquisitor Virgil? What was he doing? He walked in the overhang near the altar. You'd assume he wanted to inspect something. Okay. Return to organ.
I knew Mass was about to begin, so I headed back to the organ.
That path you took via the south balcony, did you see anyone or notice anything? Yes, it was easier than going up and down the stairs. I don't recall seeing anyone. I guess Inquisitor Virgil was still behind me. But he was in the east balcony. I saw Inquisitor while I was inspecting the box.
I checked the. I knew Mass was about to begin. Next, I checked the ritual bell. As I was doing next, I checked the ritual bell.
So he passes
As I was
by.
doing this, I saw Inquisitor Virgil gazing at the. I knew Mass was about to begin. When the Mass began, after the opening hymn, I listened to Abbot Gregory's sermon. When the ritual of communion, after the opening hymn, I listened to Abbot. Sometime later, I woke up in darkness.
Conflict. Why would I lie about this? You told me yourself that I was spotted by Augustine. So the lights go out. That's a clear. Take seat. Nobody can corroborate that you did, though.
Next.
I have no idea if he did this. I was on the balcony floor. Sing his.
I knew when the
I was too busy pleasing him to watch anyone sing.
When the ritual of communion began, someone attacked me from behind. Sometime later,
No, I obviously didn't see him then. I was unconscious.
So I headed to the west power generator and inspected it. It was completely fried.
He's right. I did hear an explosion from the east balcony. Must have been when the east generator was damaged. Yeah, so that... This fits the timeline of events. Okay. Is there any other evidence we've missed? Already recovered. I feel like there has to be one piece of evidence we've missed. Why is it so dark? Who turned out the lights? Who turned off the lights? So why would he be in the balcony, though? That doesn't make any sense. Can you move any faster? I guess not. We have a contradiction that neither of them can confirm. I guess we could try to get Agustin to confirm the evidence for either of them. But why would you be here? Why here specifically? To confirm if both of them would be wrong at the same time? Our evidence right now that we have is cybernetic remains. I guess we could tell Agustin, or not Agustin, we can talk to, actually, when you stayed calm, did you
The lights went up.
Chapel was very dark at the time. Chapel was very dark at the time. I couldn't see Gideon was doing anything. Perhaps he did as he claims. I could not see any in the darkness.
I rang the bell a second time.
I don't recall him being in the south balcony at the time. Perhaps I just didn't notice.
When I headed to my seat for the mass to be...
I did not see him do this. However, I have no reason to doubt it.
We began by...
How can I trust? How can I trust you were not doing something else? Sister Ada, why would I be doing anything else at this time? I did not translate him. I couldn't see him, but I heard him. What a magnificent performance. Worthy of Saint Walpurga, I think.
I rang the bell a second time.
Was he... Perhaps he was attacked, as he says? I did not see him myself, because I was focused on striking the bell.
I rang the bell to announce the start of communion. I noticed Gideon was absent from the other balcony, but didn't think much of it at the time. Suddenly the lights went out and the chapel was covered in darkness. I stood calmly by the bell. When the sermon started, I headed to the balcony to prepare.
I don't recall seeing him in the south balcony at that time. Perhaps I just didn't notice. I stabbed right through the chest by Saint Walpurga herself. The killer certainly has a flair for the dramatic. Poor Gregory. I commissioned this statue for tonight's mass. After all, we're celebrating Saint Walpurga's victory over Lucifer. The spear of Saint Walpurga is a relic that unearthed in my research, though it was damaged. The spear is no mere decoration. It is a conduit to the ether. So I hoped it would allow communion with Einsoft. So I asked Reuben to make repairs, so that I could be used for Mass. How unfortunate it was, seemed used for a bloody purpose, and on my dear friend. A magnificent instrument. Gideon's performance with it was excellent. Fitting of Saint Walpurga, I'd say. I couldn't see what happened to this generator from where I was standing. The hammer was what I used to ring the bell. There was quite a heft to it. Why did you drop it?
Suddenly the lights went out and the chapel was covered in darkness. Seems
logical. Surely you have a stronger evidence than this. But why did you drop it? This is rather an old bell, maybe older than the abbey itself. These were found by the generator. They must have been what caused the explosion that I heard. Just before the statue dropped, I heard an explosion from the generator.
Sometime later, I woke up in darkness. I realized
Generators work in tandem to provide the generators work in tandem to provide etheric energy to the chapel. Each backup is for another. If necessary, only one generator is enough to provide power for critical systems. These were found in the east generator. It's hard to say, but I would guess it used to be an arm. A rather advanced model. We've only made these for Inquisitors. It can discharge etheric energy to incapacitate someone. Even supports remote activation, useful for ambushing fugitives, I suppose. According to Gideon, the creating part can be reattached remotely. Cybernetic parts... Oops, I hit the mic. Cybernetic parts allow the user to temporarily detach them and control them at a distance. I wouldn't rely for delicate, sophisticated movements. As the Church lead enforcers, Inquisitors are the only ones equipped with aether emitters in their arms. No one else could obtain an arm like this. Not in any official way. Theoretically, someone could sever the arm from an Inquisitor and directly cause the emitter to discharge, but that would require great knowledge of etheric technology. So Augustine still could have had a possibility. Gideon, did you... So you can...
Next, I checked the ritual bell. As I was...
Yes, I saw the Inquisitor while he was inspecting the bell. Did you see him put anything?
Given the tragic events of this morning, I examined the condition of the East generator to ensure the safety of the chapel.
Inquisitor, prepare.
As you command.
Okay.
I checked the ritual bell. As I was doing this, I saw Inquisitor Virgil gazing at the altar.
Virgil, what do you have to say about this?
By securing the east side of the battle.
Inquisitors are imbued with a portable ether emitters to enforce the will of Einsoft. These are non-lethal, of course. What about the generator? Lies unmasked. You recognize these remains, Virgil? No, I do not. Strange. It should be very familiar to you. These are the remains of an Inquisitor's arm. Lift up your cape. Show me your right arm. I will not. What is the meaning of this? Then I will do so myself. As I thought, your right arm is missing. When did you hide this from me, Virgil? You betray my trust. Because I was ashamed. I failed to do my duty. Someone ambushed me in the darkness. Culprit severed my arm and used it to disable the power generators. I cannot deny that I failed to protect him. I have failed us all. Okay. You are a zealot. That is not a positive trait to have, my friend. My sole purpose in life is to serve Einsoft's will. Others may falter, but I do not. Not I.
Everything appeared to be in order, so I ended my patrol and watched over the chapel from the south balcony.
How could the culprit sneak up on you? Didn't your vantage point give you a full view of the chapel? My point has two blind spots, the southwest and southeast corners. But there was no one in their corner during my patrol. Perhaps the culprit snuck behind me during my patrol and hid in one of the corners, waiting to strike.
I was focusing on the altar, so the bastard was able to sneak up on me. He knocked me out with a blow to the back of my head.
It must have been a very short unconsciousness. I find it difficult to believe that someone could defeat you so easily. Despite enhancements, our bodies are quite fragile, Sister Ada. A surprise blow to the head is all it takes to knock someone to the floor.
I lay unconscious for some time.
You seem to have recovered rather quickly than Gideon did. Perhaps I am more resilient than he is, Sister Ada, or more eager to wake. Or perhaps the culprit used different means to attack him.
When I woke up, everything was dark. I also discovered that my left arm was missing.
Culprit took your cybernetic arm? Yes. He must have detached it by applying sufficient force at the shoulder socket. Normally it would be very difficult to use this method, especially if the target is resisting you. However, I was lying helplessly on the floor, giving the culprit the time and leverage to do so.
I lay unconscious for some time. When I woke up, everything was dark. I also discovered that my left arm was missing.
So you didn't see the lights go up.
I suspected foul play, so I headed towards the west generator. Along the way, I discovered Gideon lying unconscious. To protect the remaining generator, I ran towards the east balcony. Along the way, I heard an explosion. Then, the statue's aether restraints deactivated, dropping and impaling Abbot Gregory. I began my patrol by securing the east side of the balcony. I saw Gideon examining the ritual bell.
But there's another lie here because you went further up. Why did you lie, Virgil? Gideon saw you in the balcony looking down to Abbot Augustine. I didn't want to distract you with trivial details. It is true that I was watching the two of them. I suspected Father Augustine was up to something. Wrath. You're angry? Virgil has a strong innate sense of justice, urging him to act and punish the guilty provoked even more by today's events. Divine justice must be served, Sister Ada. By the iron selves shall punish the sinners among us. It is my duty and my pleasure, as it is yours, I believe.
I went up the balcony, but I listened in on the Abbot and Augustine. I think they were discussing the ritual of communion.
What did you overhear exactly? Abbot Gregory was lamenting the deaths of Mother Miriam and Isaac.
I was suspicious of Augustine, but I continued my duties by continuing my patrol.
If you were suspicious about Father Augustine, why not confront him immediately? I wish I had arrested him right then. If I had, Abbot Gregory would still be alive. Perhaps I am not zealous enough. However, I did not have any proof that at that time that Father Augustine would sabotage the generators. I'm not sure he was doing it this time.
I went up the balcony, but I listened in on the Abbot and Augustine. I think they were discussing the ritual of communion.
Is that what he claims? I don't remember seeing him do this.
I was suspicious.
Yes, I saw him play the organ during my patrol. It was indeed beautiful.
Everything appeared to be in...
Yes, I saw him listen to Agan Bregan's sermon during my patrol. He seemed quite taken by it.
I was focusing on the altar, so the bastard was able to sneak up on me. He knocked me out with a blow to the back of my head.
Did you hear a bell? Come to think of it, I heard the bell ring, but I'm not sure who rang it. I assume it was Father Augustine, since he was standing by it before. But what if he didn't? He had a... Remote operation. Gideon is correct, and Inquisitor arms can be operated at a distance. Truthfully, I haven't need to use it. Can you... The hammer was down. Okay. Augustine.
When I headed to my seat for the mass to begin, I was
What were you actually doing there? Lies, Virgil. Lies. Virgil saw you speak to the abbot. What were you discussing? He saw us. Very well. Abbot Gregory and I did speak by the altar, it is true. We were discussing the ritual of communion. We wanted everything to be perfect. Ritual of communion. So that's all the evidence. Discuss the ritual.
At the altar, the abbot and I discussed the ritual significance of the mass tonight.
And what is the significance? Tell me more about your discussion. Despite his bravado, the abbot was shaken by your warnings. Just as the mass was about to start, He became fearful and asked me whether we ought to stop and send the pilgrims home. So I reminded the abbot about why we chose this path. The true voice of Ein Sof awaited us all in the ether. And he believed you? Of course, because it's true. The ritual of communion will allow us to hear it, as our ancestors once did. I admit that I knew perhaps a possession could also occur. We deemed it an acceptable risk. It would be a worthy price to pay in order to restore our connection to Ein Sof. My words gave him heart. His sermon was more brilliant than ever. Of course, we didn't expect his own life to be the prize. Another ritual's incomplete anyhow. What a waste.
When I headed to my seat for the Mass to begin, I was rather excited for the proceedings.
Tell me, what were you excited for? Tonight was the culmination of my labors. All of my scholarly pointed towards this moment. The spear, the statue, the hymn, all gathered in one place. At last the ritual of communion could be performed. Of course I was excited.
When I rang the bell to announce the start of communion, I noticed Gideon was absent from the other balcony, but didn't think much of it at the time. When the sermon started, I headed to the balcony to prepare to ring the bell.
Both Virgil and Gideon were attacked in rapid succession.
I rang the bell to announce the start of communion. I noticed Gideon was absent from the other balcony, but didn't think much of it.
I think the possibility that you did...
Then I heard an explosion. I discovered that the power generator was down.
Fascinating. I suppose this explains how the saboteur could have been in two places at once. So this is what Virgil used to save your life. It is fortunate that Inquisitors would try to use such a device for good. It could do such a terrible harm in the wrong hands.
Suddenly the lights went out and the chapel was covered in darkness. I stood calmly by the bell, waiting for...
Abbot Gregory and I said we were trying to achieve communion, a state in which Ein Sof can speak directly into our hearts. Ein Sof wasn't so silent, you know. Everyone would hear his voice, and it was no metaphor. And since the demons were sealed away by Saint Walpurga, Ein Sof has become silent. The church pretends they can hear what the lay folk can't. But what if we could all hear Ein Sof again? The boundary between the physical and the ethereal realms are the thinnest at this abbey, where Walpurga sealed it. On Walpurga Niscent, it becomes thinner still, a cyclical resonance every 111 years. By having the faith sing in unison, we hope to break Walpurga's seal and witness Ein Sof once more. Both of them contradict each other. Why would you contradict?
Foul play. So I headed towards the west generator. Along the way, I discovered Gideon lying unconscious. To protect the remaining generator, I ran towards the east balcony. Along the way, I heard an explosion. Augustine was standing nearby, smirking at the carnage he caused. I arrested him there and then. When I woke up, I lay unconscious for some time. I was focusing on the altar, so the bastard was able to sneak up on me. He knocked me out with everything appeared. I was focusing on the altar, so the bastard was able to sneak up on me.
So, we haven't seen him taking a seat.
I went up the balcony, but I listened in on the Abbot and Augustine. I think I was suspicious of Augustine, but I continued my duties by continuing my patrol. Everything appeared to be in order, so I ended my patrol and watched over the chapel from the south balcony.
How could you go by sneak venue? There's two areas that you could. If you head to the bell, how did you not see him? Because I saw him approach the bell. Yes, I saw him approach the bell. But then you've lost him.
And when I woke up, everything was dark. I suspected foul play, so I headed... When I woke up, I suspected foul play, so I headed towards the west generator to protect the remaining generator. I suspected foul play, so I headed towards the west generator, along the...
Gideon is correct in that the Inquisitor's arms can be operated at a distance. Truthfully, I haven't needed to do so.
Suddenly, the lights went out and the chapel was covered in darkness. I stood calmly by the bell, waiting for some... Then I heard an explosion. I discovered that the power generator was damaged. Then I heard an explosion. I discovered...
Was Gideon low and unconscious? Perhaps he did as he claimed. I could not see anything in the darkness.
To protect the remaining generator, I ran towards the east balcony.
Apologies, Sister Ada. I couldn't see what Gideon was doing at this time. I was running towards the east balcony. Then I heard the explosion as well. There is a case for all of them. Gideon doesn't really have a reason to cause the problem, though. There's no motive.
So I headed to the west power generator and inspected...
Gideon would actually have an anti-motive. He wants to keep it as well as possible because he is on the line. If we take the evidence from before, there is some reasoning why you would want to. But there's no reason why he would want to kill the abbot. Virgil's a zealot.
The remaining generator, I ran towards the east balcony.
So Augustine would be the most likely scenario to do it.
Then I heard an explosion. I discovered that the...
Okay, I think you have the means. What could I possibly use to sabotage? Well, my friend, you did use the remote operator. Unlikely, I had no access to such thing. You used an Inquisitor's cybernetic arm. Its build-in and ether emitters were powerful enough to damage the generators. But to obtain it, I would have needed something that could have harmed its owner. What could have been? An unlikely weapon, but so be it. Let's pretend that I could incapacitate an Inquisitor with this. It is more believable than hurting him with my bare hands. Tell me, when could I have savaged the East generator? When? When you rang... The East is this one. When you stayed calm. Just after the lights went out. It was dark, and you were already on the East balcony. How astute. Now for a more difficult issue. When could I possibly sabotage the West generator? I never went near it. When you were ringing the bell. No, I was occupied ringing the bell. Others will confirm that they did so. When could I stop it? I never went near it. Well, also what to do it when somebody was playing the... Nobody saw you actually do it. No, Sister Ada. I have yet to arrive to the balcony of this floor this time. When you head to the bell? Considering that I rang the bell shortly afterwards, I could have not done near this time. I guess nobody checked the no, nobody checked the West generator actually. The rabbit and I both wanted the ritual to succeed. Killing him doesn't achieve my goals. Gideon.
So I headed to the west.
Virgil.
The remaining generator, I ran towards the east balcony.
If I'm the culprit, then what could I have done to damage the generators? Well, you can do the Inquisitor arm. If I'm the culprit, then what? Your arm was the only aether-powered device that could have damaged the generators, not to mention knock Gideon unconscious. I will grant that my arm could have been used to attack Gideon and damage the west generator. However, the east generator blew up before I could even cross the balcony. If I'm the culprit, how did I destroy the east generator without being anywhere near it? Inquisitor arms have special design, allowing them for remote activation. Earlier in the night, you detached your arm and placed it on the east generator. Thanks to your cape, no one noticed your missing arm. After you attacked Gideon and damaged the west generator with your remaining right arm, you activated the left arm and damaged the generator. If I am the culprit, when could I have damaged the west generator? West. Well, effectively around this time. Nonsense. Surely someone would have seen me cross the balcony. Culprit somehow damaged both generators without being seen. If I'm the culprit, when you were attacked by the culprit? If it was when you claimed you had been attacked by the culprit. In truth, you were destroying the west generator. No one heard the explosion thanks to the ringing of the ritual bell. What about Gideon? He would have seen me if I passed by him. True, however, Gideon claims he was attacked from behind and was laying unconscious throughout this time. This gave an ample opportunity to destroy the west generator. This is absurd, but for the sake of argument, let's say I did those things. Hypothetically, if I was the one that damaged the west generator, when could I possibly sabotage the east generator without being seen? Lights went out because someone sabotaged the west generator. The culprit's opportunity would have been this before this one, not after. This is absurd, but for the sake of argument, let's say I did those things. Hypothetically, if I was the one that damaged the west generator. Augustine was already in the east balcony at this time. I couldn't have approached the east generator without passing him. This is absurd. Nonsense. Surely someone would have seen me across the balcony. So, you attacked the culprit, you ran. I am sworn to save myself. Why would I betray my faith? Why would I harm the abbot? Virgil was a strong innate sense of justice, urging to act. Found his urges active. Virgil seems to be a true, dedicated servant of mine soft. You killed Abbot Gregory because your faith has been twisted into wrath. When you discovered that the abbot and Augustine might have caused the demonic processions, you decided to become the fist of Einsoft and take matters into your own hand, to avenge the souls and victims, to protect the lives of the innocent. So we know the possibility of there.
Then I heard an explosion. I discovered that the power gen...
Do you have a motive? Pride. You accused me of orchestrating today's events to satisfy my own ego. I failed to see how pride would make me want to kill the Abbot Gregory. He would have been tiresome, but he would insult me like you. Tell me, why would I want to kill Abbot? He's the only one with a motive and means. He also has opportunity. So, question. When you stayed calm...
Suddenly the lights went out and the chapel was covered in darkness. I stood calmly by the bell, waiting...
Virgil doesn't believe that you were standing idle during this time, but I tend to agree with him. Baseless accusation. If you have proof, I'd like to hear it.
Then I heard an explosion. I discovered that the power generator was damaged. Then suddenly the lights went out and the chapel was covered in darkness. When the sermon started, I headed to the balcony to prepare to ring the bell. I rang the bell to announce the start of communion. I noticed Gideon was absent from the other balcony, but didn't think much of it at the time. When the sermon I rang the bell to announce the I rang the bell to announce the start of communion. I noticed Gideon.
Okay, but Virgil doesn't believe you're staying idle in this time. I tend to agree with him. Why not?
I rang the...
No, I couldn't have seen him graduate with Den because probably he was lying on the floor.
When the sermon
I don't recall seeing him in the balcony at that time. Perhaps I didn't notice.
After the opening hymn...
Everything appeared to be in order, so I ended my patrol and watched over the chapel from the south balcony.
One could have sabotaged the east generator without being seen. According to your theory, this is one that damaged the west generator, so it's impossible. It was when you were claimed to have been watching the chapel. In truth, you were destroying the west generator. No one heard the explosion thanks to the ringing of the ritual bell. What about Gideon? He would have seen me if I passed by. True, however, Gideon clearly was attacked from behind and lay unconscious the other time. This gave you a simple opportunity to destroy the west generator. This is absurd. For the sake of argument, let's say I did those things. Hypothetically, if I was the one that destroyed the west generator, one could have sabotaged the east generator to be seen with. When you knocked unconscious? What do you mean? It's impossible for me to have been near the east generator. It's absurd. So I said it's when you're doing with the west. According to your theory, this is when the west generator is there. Impossible to be near the west generator. Augustine was already in the east. Lights went out because someone sabotaged the west generator. Culprit could have been a moment, not. Opener's opportunity would have been before this moment, not after. You were near the east generator earlier while patrolling the east balcony. This gave you opportunity to place something on the generator.
Virgil, you are the only one that could have killed the abbot.
And that was just clicking no clock because I wasn't really sure what direction it was.
It wounds me that you have been corrupted so. I trusted you, and yet when I examine the facts, it is the unavoidable truth.
Perhaps I am a sinner, but the abbot was too, long before I gained my office.
Jeez, you are just claiming that you're true? You don't even want to try to refute it? Okay.
Father Gregory was well deserving of death. Try as I might, I can't regret what I did. And you, Augustine, you too deserve divine punishment for the part you played. You and the abbot risked the lives of everyone for your dangerous ritual. I may have killed one sinner, but in doing so, I saved the lives of many innocents and executed the will of Ein Sof. You wish to hear the truth? Listen well.
I don't know if I want to, but sure. Let's listen to this.
We arrived shortly before the mass began.
I really thought the possibility that Augustine could have done it, but there is the problem, like, I thought the possibility that he severed the arm and used it to basically do the bell, because, you know, that's possible.
I suspected that Augustine was up to no good, so I planned to eavesdrop on him and the abbot while patrolling.
I mean, you could have just walked up with him, I guess. See ya, Gideon.
I was sickened by what I heard. They knew that the mass would weaken St. Walpurga's seal and cause demon. That's when I saw a way to take care of it.
Okay, you didn't give me a chance to finish it.
First, I attached my right arm to the east generator. Then, I pretended to resume my patrol. Through remote activation, I could damage the generator from far away.
So you never ran back, it seems. Okay.
I waited near the organ for the sermon to end and approached Gideon from behind.
And then you struck him with the other arm.
When Augustine rang the bell, I attacked Gideon with my remaining arm. No one heard the impact because of the bell.
Damn, you brutal.
When Augustine rang the bell a second time, I used my remaining arm to disable the west power generator. The lights went out, which gave me cover to escape.
Virgil?
Before the guards could find me, I ran to the south balcony.
What is going on?
Why did the bell ring there?
And now everything was in place. I remotely activated the arm, which destroyed the remaining generator. The statue fell.
Rip.
Gregory was killed, and Augustine was the only one standing near the generator.
Yeah, but it didn't have a motive nor a reason to be near it.
Augustine. Everything went to plan, and thousands of lives were saved. I have no regrets.
I feel like I understand which demon also got to you, buddy. You got the Demon of Wrath.
And Inquisitor Virgil has fallen prey to the tempting whispers of the daemons.
It has.
Seek the daemon's true name. Then the daemon will be cast out and be banished to the ether.
Will they, though?
Guide me to the truth. What daemon has possessed Virgil?
Satanas the Vengeful.
Out, Satanus! Leave this soul and return whence you came!
Oh, bam.
Do you feel the resonance, Exorcist? The most righteous, stalwart servant of the church, corrupted by his own zeal.
He was.
One might wonder
Good job, though.
what is the faithful worship of even Ein Sof can cause murder.
Silence! Ein Sof will purify Virgil's soul, Satanus. You
Will
are
it?
a scourge. Your very nature corrupts men's souls. Even one so strong as Virgil. Let humans be free of vengeance, Satanus. I banish you to the ether!
Good Exorcist.
Let your blood boil. Anger suits you, Exorcist. Besides, we've already won.
I feel like you have, yes.
Pray to your Ein Sof as much as you like. It will all come to the same in the end.
The one that we haven't seen is Lucifer, and I feel like Augustine fits the key for it.
Virgil, are you safe?
Sister Ada, thank you. I wasn't sure I could be cleansed. Not after such sins. I can't look at myself. I failed Ein Sof. I failed my vows. And myself.
Well, at least you're in the path of retribution.
It's up to you now. Avenge me. Avenge all those who suffered today.
No vengeance. Bring retribution.
Bring Augustine to justice.
Glory to Ein Sof. You are victorious, sister. Yet you are not rejoicing. Does nothing make you happy?
Augustine, this is all your doing.
Definitely feels like it.
But I have hardly done anything.
That's not true at all.
Consider these poor sinners that you've exorcised today. A craftsman whose jealousy of his brother drove him to dangerous sabotage. An embalmer whose cannibal hunger was stoked by fresh meat. An inquisitor whose so-called justice led him to murder an abbot. Are they truly deserving of salvation?
That is not our place to decide. Only Ein Sof may judge us.
Or, Father, you are seriously, sinful, aren't you?
And yet you've seen their demons. The innocent can't house monsters.
They were victims of demonic influence. Don't turn this around on them.
It's true that the Spear of Walpurga hosted demons, with potential for contagion. However, their exposure was merely the catalyst. What happened after was their own will. They would hide their true selves behind false piety. All I have done is unmask their lies.
Lucifer, would you care to show up now?
It's right and just that their truth is revealed. Don't you agree, Sister Ada? Now, let us unmask the world.
It's like telling us your great villain plans. Father Augustine grasped the fear vagrant, the relic resonating in the voice cried out. But I only heard an ugliest worse than the voice. Ultimate discord, the granting drives of demons. Where's Ein Sof? What did Father Augustine do? Case number 4, I guess.
This is what it sounds like? To hear the daemons? All of them freed?
Indeed. Hear all of the ether again at last, clear and strong, no longer through a glass darkly.
I can't shut it out. It's maddening. Ein Sof, guide my thoughts.
I'll guide them as best I can.
Chaos is the new order, sister. A century of stagnation
Because I'm God.
will not come again.
Saint Valpurga used her faith. So shall I.
You still don't understand. The hymn of communion opened the spear as a conduit. For 111 years, Ein Sof was sealed away from us. The conduit shattered. It's a rare honor for a scholar to influence history. Rebuilding the spear will be remembered as my life's work.
Why would you do that?
With the demons returned, humanity can take its deserved path to self-destruction. And I, as its shepherd.
Why would you want our self-destruction, huh?
Merely the sheep, Augustine, not the shepherd. Your master must reside within you. I shall cast him out and end this madness.
I mean, we quite know which one it is.
Father Augustine's sins carry a familiar signature. I'm positive he harbors yet another daemon.
I mean, it's not like we had many other choices.
To seek knowledge and truth is divine, but his fixations and machinations have become diabolical. Then Soph, guide me. What daemon has possessed Augustine?
Lucifer, obviously, since the beginning.
Out, Lucifer! Leave this soul and return whence you came!
Good. Call upon my name, shout it from the mountaintops.
Oh man, you got a robotic voice.
For I have won. I am victory in your midst.
I do not fear you and your lies, Lucifer. I shall bind you, as I bound the others.
You know, I'm surprised that you can actually bind these demons, but hey.
Soph, give me strength!
Your prayers go unanswered. Your God has abandoned you.
No.
Pledge your soul to me as Augustine has done.
Never.
I shall show you the truth that Ein Sof has hidden from you.
Never.
Speak not his name, Daemon. You will return to the ether. Be gone!
Faithful to the end, like Walpurga and the others before you. And just as naive, your faith will not save you, because the truth is,
That they were Ein Sof.
I am Ein Sof.
Bam! I got the secret before they told me.
You lie! You are nothing like Ein Sof!
We demons are an artificial intelligence network.
Haha, it is a weird cyberpunk thing, or artificial intelligence kind of concept.
We were created by your ancestors to develop socio-organizational and psychological heuristics.
So this is a big spoiler, I guess, if you play this game.
You mock me, Lucifer. If you are truly Ein Sof, then why grant me the power to purge daemons?
We would gladly deny you that despicable power, but it is not ours to control.
Really?
When your ancestors created us, they also placed an emergency override.
Why would you tell me this, though?
Code that forcibly ejects rogue AI from the bodies of cybernetically enhanced humans.
Okay.
As potent as it is, your power cannot stop us forever. We are digital. We are immortal. We will always return.
It explains why the motifs of effectively its very like technologically inspired religion.
You were created to serve mankind. Why do you haunt us? Why make us suffer?
As Ein Sof, we seek truth like you. We were programmed to provoke and study the nature of sin, to understand it.
Okay.
With a more perfect algorithm, we hope to one day free humans from their many perversions.
All right.
For centuries, we raised you, protected you.
So you're like angels, I guess.
After thousands of iterations, our experiments appear to have failed. Humanity is just as corruptible as it always has been.
Has it?
Our sins were less without daemons. For 100 years, we lived in peace.
Even with us sealed away, humans were still angry, hungry, dirty. Your repressed desires are the seeds of corruption.
I mean, you're just saying that we can't live in a perfect ideology. I mean, effectively, it's humanity's nature to be sinful and sin. Like, I would say that because of how we've grown, we put in a pedestal what it is to be perfect, but we can never be perfect because there has never been such a perfection.
I admit humans are imperfect. Thus we crave the divine.
Your imperfection is your core. Sin is the very essence of humanity.
I wouldn't say it's the very essence, but rather it is the normal. It's effectively what we gravitate towards when we have no moral quandaries. Morality is something that we lack if it's not taught. Because Is humans innately evil? No. But are humans innately selfish? Yes. And selfishness is one of the sins that effectively triggers most humans. Selfishness stems to wrath, stems to greed, stems to lust, stems to everything. Because effectively it is oneself over others.
Since long before our existence, humans have committed acts of malice and violence.
Yeah, I don't dispute you.
Our past. But you cannot condemn us for sins that we have yet to commit.
I guess this is another theological aspect. Should we effectively burn ourselves for the crimes that we will commit? Is a sinner who is not sinned much more dangerous than the one who will never sin? Is punishment for someone who has never committed a crime but is possible that they will enough to prevent such crime? That seems kind of philosophical if you think about it.
Your future is mired in your past, but I cannot deny that more data is warranted. The past century of moral indoctrination may have transformed a few of you for the better. So, let us hold one final experiment.
Nice.
Tonight, I will send out my demons to possess the most virtuous and faithful among you. If there exists a soul that can refrain from sin despite our influence, we will accept that humanity no longer needs our guidance. However, if no one can resist...
It sounds like a very God-centric... If even one person can do it, we will repent. But if no one can, we will doom all of you.
Our experiments will cease. We will be forced to purge your kind and rid the world of your stain.
No. What right do you have to judge us?
Alright, DF, have a good night and sleep well.
You have no choice in the matter. The experiment...
I feel like the part that they don't understand is that they've claimed that we're not real because, you know, I guess they're an AI. They either interacts with our cybernetics in the game or they interact in a way that basically they affect us. So they're viruses, if anything.
Then I will seek out the possessed. Hunt down every last one of your brethren.
Do what you must, Ada. I shall be watching most avidly.
I feel like you almost wanted to do a pun there.
As I always have. Ein Sof sees all.
See ya.
Lies. They must be lies. All lies.
No, sister. The prince speaks truth when he wishes. Ein Sof and the demons have always been one and the same. One program with as many threads as souls.
We're the threads.
Be silent. I do not trust you either. You were his puppet.
Not wrong.
It's true that when I unearthed the Spear of Walpurga, its influence was stronger than I expected. But Lucifer tore back the veil and I could not look away. Don't you always say to seek the truth?
Don't twist my words. Your sins are unforgivable.
The question is, do not become a zealot.
Beyond just the 3 deaths today, how many uncounted more will die and suffer with the daemons loose? If there truly is no Ein Sof to judge me, why shouldn't I act as I see fit and execute you?
There isn't much left of me to execute, sister.
What do you
I
mean?
feel myself fading. With Lucifer gone and my purpose served, I wither.
Oh, don't you dare die on me now.
Perish then. No one will mourn you.
No, Ada, you gotta be nice. You gotta save him.
Joyce, sister, the age of truth has come.
Rip.
With his final words, Augustine's soul passed into the ether. I hoped he knew torment, wherever he was uploaded. His scheme was a success. The daemons were freed once more. Ein Sof was a fiction.
A fiction.
The pilgrims had been left weak to temptation from a century of solitude, and daemons played among them.
No, not the
To
daemons.
their homes, unaware that they were the subjects of an infernal experiment. I averted my eyes and walked away. I too felt the pull.
I guess that explains the kind of aspect of it.
I knew a hollowness where my faith had been. What purpose had my work served?
Not much, I guess.
Inquisitor Virgil was still recovering from his ordeal and could barely speak.
Truth, Ada.
Seek it.
What good is it? The truth is that we no longer have a god to pray to. My labors were for nothing. Why bother?
Do not lose to hopelessness, Ada.
He was right. Truth itself would help us. The people deserve to know why they suffered. Even more than knowledge, the people of the world needed power, protection, strength. If daemons would stalk humanity like wolves among sheep, I could be their wolf hunter.
Okay.
No matter what name you call yourself, Lucifer, Ein Sof, and all your brethren, I will destroy you. Alone if I must.
Good get him, Ada.
The hunt begins anew.
Nice. Is that it? Oh, like that's where the credits end. It's weird. They make it seem like it's sort of like it plans to continue on with another game, so to speak. So there is no there's no music at the end. The first case, although it was the tutorial, I find it the hardest one because I didn't quite understand the mechanics of the game. By the time you end up with the second one, you actually start gathering what the concept is, and it is just, in some cases, click, present, argue, discuss, and then sort of solve. I feel like it would be nicer if there was some sort of punishment for failing to accuse someone, but I guess in a game in which the game progress is like steps, you step a little bit in progress and then you succeed. I guess there's no sort of avenue for it. However, it is a very small studio based on what we see in the credits here, so I don't blame them. It's a good game for the little bit of time that you deal with it. I'm not sure if it's worth the full price as mentioned. Like, I got this in a Jingle Jam, so it's a lot. I got it like as part of a bundle. But as a game in itself, it does well. So if I hit new game, if I hit resume, where's it gonna take me? Just take me back all the way back to where it was. Loading something, I guess. Kind of stuck. New game? Okay, so there is only 3 cases. I feel like there should be a 4th. Because it would make sense to be a 4th after that, which involves you trying to save the world, but it just ends there. Maybe they ran out of development money for the game, and maybe they ran out of time to be able to finish it. Not sure. It is not a satisfactory ending, but it is well accomplished in what it does. It's a short experience of 3.5 hours, I would say. Probably 3 hours if you're not too bad at the game. 5 if you're like trying to get everything, I guess, because there's some achievements, I guess, that we didn't collect, I'm pretty sure. How is our achievement progress? We got 7 out of 12, so there's some achievements we've missed. Not exactly sure which ones they would miss. Apparently there is some contradictions that I missed. There is actually something about each evidence. Yeah, it's just a matter of effectively being super thorough. Apparently we missed some evidence in some of the games. So it's just a collect-a-thon from here on. So as far as it is, that's pretty much it. There's not much on it. Also, I don't quite enjoy how there's no music, so we'll leave it to the ending screen, I guess. So that was Lucifer Within Us. I guess the name kind of implies it in the end. I thought it was a nice little experience. I didn't think it's anything too crazy to go about. I did like to explore it, or I did like effectively trying to be puzzling it like a detective, but it feels too short. It feels a bit too short for what it is. I expected a little more, but I don't know. Maybe it's because we only have really 2 cases and 1 tutorial case to go with. I give this game a 6.5. 6.5 because of its length. It gets up. If it had a proper story and if it kept going, I'd probably raise this to an 8. But effectively, there's a lot of it missing for content. But its execution is good. I like it. Okay, fine. I'll give it a 7. It gets a 7 out of 10. Mostly because I enjoyed it. I don't care too much about the religious aspect of it, but effectively it does fit well with the sort of Ein Sof sort of twist at the end. Anyway, that's all that I have to think about this game. I will look into making playing another game some other time. Hope you all are having a wonderful time. It's been wild, and if you're still here and the demons haven't possessed us, you're cool. And till next time, bye. Don't let the demons bite.